Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing, ladies and gentlemen? I want to welcome everybody to this live broadcast by the grace of God. I'm a little tired, but I'm still excited. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a whole lot of fun this afternoon because what we're about to experience is something we have not experienced before. And as you're coming in, Sister Ruth, Sister Ruth, she's still awake in London. Just imagine you're still awake in London at 6 o'clock. You know, 6 o'clock, you're still awake. All right. Thank you very much. As you're coming in, please go ahead and share the video. Sister Yetunde Olagunju, how you doing? Good. Princess, God bless you. Um, Lovely America. Oh, Ola Oshebikan Tobi, you are still awake in Nigeria? My God. Nigerians are awake. Oluwatobi Odukale, thank you very much. Oluwatoyin Omolayo, God bless you. Thank you very much. Elizabeth Seun Odus, God bless you. Bumi, God bless you. Thank you very much. James Uloba, all the way from Houston, Texas. You guys, you're about to hear what you have never heard before. I'm telling you, this you will not be able to recover from what we're about to do tonight. And a lot of us, we are actually suffering from one thing or the other. But tonight, you are going to hear from somebody directly, and your own life will never remain the same. As you're coming in, please go ahead and just share the video at Akinrogun West, all the way from Niger. What's up? You're still awake. From the UK, Cape O Bamis. Princess Lona. Prince Leonard, how are you doing? Princess MC, God bless you from the UK. You guys are not sleeping. Abimbola Erikitola, not sleeping. Princess Oshunde, not sleeping. Wow. Simisola Babalola, God bless you. Thank you very much. Oluwatoyin Omolayo. Modupe Mayaki, God bless you. Yomi Adedeji, wow. All the way from Niger. Kilo Day, you guys are not sleeping. Rachel Amuga, all the way from Niger. Niger people, you guys are Dina Afolabi, God bless you. Thank you very much. Sister Ruth, do I need a glass of wine? Yes, you do. You do need a glass of wine because what we're about to do today, you will not be able to recover from it. I'm talking about a true life story, a real life story from a real person. My guest is in the studio with me. I just want to give you guys some time. Let me give you guys some time to think a little bit. Because, see, it's not easy for someone to come out and say, I want to talk about the story of my life. In Nigeria, they call it Iririaye. I'm really sorry because of the video. I'm not sure why the video is actually blurry. I'm really sorry about that. We're going to manage it for today. I was actually thinking of canceling the show before, but listen, we're going to rock it like that. And God is going to help us. But after today, I'm going to work on the internet and everything will be fine. It's not easy for someone to come out and say, all right, I want to share the story of my life. I want to let the people know where I'm coming from. My ups, my downs, things I've been through in life. It's not easy to do that. It's not easy to do that. And see, if somebody could summon the courage to say, I'm going to come on a social network or a social media and I will share the story of my life, it means it's real. It means that person is coming out from a heart, not for any other reason but to bless you. For you to be able to understand that people are going through different things. And most of the time when I share a post on my network, some people will ask me, is this real? Is this a movie or a true life story? It's because you are afraid to share your own story, because your story is crazy and you're hiding that story. Some of you just deny yourself. You don't believe you have problems, but you do. And your life is messed up. I'm not going to lie to you. Your life is messed up. You have big time problems because you are covering your problem. You're covering your situation. And then you are acting as if to say, oh, nothing is happening all around about me. But so much is happening all around about you. But because you refuse to share it, because you refuse to accept it as a problem, and then you're hiding. See, today, I want you guys to be very attentive Don't let anything distract you. You're about to hear a true life story. And I believe one thing, that at the end of this show, so many other people will come out to be able to discuss it also. All right? Many people will come out to be able to share the story of their lives. Now, you must heal. When you share it, you are letting it out, and it's going out of your life, and you're getting healed on the inside. So, listen, every one of you guys, I want you guys to stay tuned. Get a bottle of Coke or a bottle of water. Get it beside you because I'm about to take you guys on a journey. And this journey, you'll never be able to recover from it by the time we come back. So I have my guest, without wasting time, I have my guest in the studio with me, Yemisi Yakubu. How are you doing today?
I'm fine, thank you, Pastor. Good
Good to
afternoon, Pastor Shala.
good
Good
afternoon.
afternoon, everybody. God
Mm,
bless you.
we thank
It's
God.
good to be here. Thank you, Pastor. Thank you for the
Thank you
encouragement.
for
God
coming.
bless you.
Thank you for
Real
coming.
good.
I want to say something real quick. I want you
Thank you.
to take it easy, relax. This is your home. These are your friends. These are people you know. You guys have been on the Raw platform for so long. So today, just feel at home. All right. Tell us a little bit. Who is Yemisi Yakubu?
Okay, sir. My names are Oluwayemisi Ajibade Yakubu. I'm a mother of three, single mother of three.
Mm.
I'm a social worker. I just finished my classes in social work. Corona will not allow us to graduate. And I am actually practicing social work at the moment. I thank God for that. I live here in California. Uh, I'm a born again Christian, a child of God.
Mm.
I'm an ordained evangelist. I am I'm every woman and so much more.
Wow, that's beautiful. Now, when you look at the name, your last name, Yakubu, somebody will look at it and say, are you a Muslim or you've been a Muslim before? How come Yakubu?
Pastor, even me, I've asked that question. So
Mm.
I'm a complete hybrid Nigerian. Okay.
Okay.
Uh, people call me Yoruba. I
Yeah.
don't like it, but yeah, people. My name, my name is Oluwayemisi, so automatically people say, "Oh, you're a Yoruba woman." I'm from Edo State. Okay.
Wow.
My dad is from Isako. My mom
Mm.
is from Delta State, Asaba. My grandparents from my mother's side, my grandmother from my mother's side is from Imo State, and my grandmother from my father's side is from Egba, Abeokuta.
Abeokuta.
So,
Mm.
and then I was born in Ibadan. The whole family, both my mother and my father, all grew up in Ibadan. So I was born there and automatically.
Mm.
When they gave me the name, they just gave me Luayemisi. The family name for my dad is actually Enakbene. So the Yoruba,
Enakbene.
yeah, the Yakubu part, trust me, doctor.
Mm.
Pastor, I mean, I said doctor. See, doctor is program in my head.
Mm.
I can't really say if it's a
Mm.
Europe, if it's a Muslim name.
Actually, it's not a Muslim name, for real.
Okay.
Yeah. It's actually a name for people that are from the north too. Some people from the north. Maybe we say a Muslim name, but you see, it's kind of like a name, attached to people from the north. So you're actually a Nigerian, a full Nigerian from everywhere you cut across. That's why you look beautiful. I can see the beauty in you. I can see the beauty of Nigeria in you. All right, that's
Thank
good. That's
you.
good. All right, all right. Now, we're not wasting time. Let's look at your foundation. Let's look at your background. Where do you come from? Who are you? You came through a father and a mother. Tell us a little bit about your childhood.
Yeah. Okay. Like I said, Pastor, I'm only going to share I've never really shared my story,
Mhm.
and I'm going to share my story only on Pastor Shola's platform.
Wow.
Because I think it's it's time and it's God's timing.
Mm.
Okay, so biopsychosocial, that's what we call it in the social work. Um, So my parent, my mom, Ajibade Aji father. That's actually what we call him, Aji father. And I'm gonna call my dad's name and a couple of people's name during this show for specific reasons. And so Aji father liked this girl. Aji father was in all boys school, and this beautiful young lady is all girls school. And during inter-house sports, they see each other from afar. They write love letters and all that stuff. And they both graduated, never see each other, or maybe they saw each other in groups. I really can't say. And then this afternoon, because my dad, I had to ask my dad, my mom would really not talk about it because, women, they kind of quote it in very, very nice little way that makes the man look really guilty and really bad. So
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
had my mother's side of the story for a lot of years. So
Mm-hmm.
when I finally met my dad, I had to hear his side of the story. And according to him, he was already in the NDA or something like that. And this very fateful afternoon, he was working. He described this scenario so clearly, you know, because there was a lot of dispute, and I had a lot of questions, And he said he was walking down the street, going somewhere, I don't know, and boom, he hits this girl on the road. Oh my God. He was so in love with this girl. So one thing led to the other. He called the name of the hotel, told me the time, and he took this girl in, and they did the deed. And here I am.
Wow.
And that was how I was conceived. And
Hmm.
that's how I came to be.
Just like that. He
It's
was
like
going on the road. He met this girl. Boom, and then from there to one hotel named that we don't have the name here, and boom, something happened right on the bed right there. And before we get to know it, Yemisi is here.
I was created.
Glory to God. Glory to God. Glory to God. All right. So tell us more about when you started growing up and what happened.
So, my dad, after that day, he had plans. This man already had plans going on. And so he left the country. I don't know what happened in between. If they saw each other again, they both really didn't give me that details. The guy left, and my mom was pregnant. I don't know if she told her parents. I don't know what happened. But from the story that my grandmother told me was at the age of 2, I was brought to her. That's my, paternal grandmother, my father's mom. And the moment they saw me, they knew that was my child. That was their child because I looked like carbon copy of my dad, Aji father. And that's how my dad came about the name Aji father, because at the age of 21, amongst his friends, he was the only father, the only one that had a child. And
Oh,
he knew about me because there was communication. And my mom dropped me over with my grandmother, who raised me from there. And my mom, I think I can remember vaguely that she came visiting several times. She would come visit. I think she was in the north by then. She was in Abuja or Suleja or somewhere, Kasina or Kaduna. I can't really remember, but I can remember she comes to visit. She would come visit, and there was dispute. I think there was a time she wanted to take me away. Maybe I was like 7 or 8, and they had to get the police to arrest her. There was a lot because she wanted to take me at that point. But growing up, yeah, it was hard. You know that between the age of 2 and the age of 10, I cannot remember so much. Because I found out that I locked up a lot. I locked up so much, that at this point I have very significant memories. And the memory that stuck so much to me at adulthood was the molestation memory. Um, and another story of somebody else. Those are things that I can actually remember because I think the landlord's son. I remember this name clearly. I remember several times. Now I can't say if I was 7, 6, 5, 8, 10, I can't really remember, but I know that I was molested as a child. And I never told anyone, even as an adult. I'm saying it for the first time here. And, it was tough. And I was lacking both mother and father. My mother came maybe once in 2 years, and my dad, I don't know, I don't know. I don't know if he ever came back. I don't even know if he ever came back. But I knew my dad. I knew I was living with my father's mother. So I knew my dad. I knew this is my father's mother. I've seen his pictures, and all that stuff. And then, at the age of 12, my mom comes home, comes these fateful days. Mommy had gone to the meeting, those meetings they have now. Mommy had gone to the meeting, and I was home with my niece, and my mom showed up. Oh, and where's everybody? Nobody. My mom took me, and that was how I landed in Abuja.
So she kidnapped you from your grandmother's
Yeah.
house.
Yeah, without I think a few neighbors saw her, and that was what gave my grandmother some peace of mind. A few people saw her, so it wasn't like I missed. They knew that my mother
Your mother
had
came to pick you.
taken me. Yeah, but they didn't know where
And
she
she
took
never
me.
discussed it with the grandmother.
Oh no, because I remember she made attempts. She made several attempts, and it didn't work out because mommy wouldn't release me. So she had to do that. And then I was in JS1. I went to Bolajoko International Children's School, and then I got into Bishop Onabanjo High School in Bodija. And so I was already in JS1 when she came to take me. So took me to Abuja, and boom, into a boarding school. So I transitioned from living at home with my grandmother, my niece, and my auntie to a completely different state, environment, and everything in a boarding school. It wasn't an easy transform. I don't think it would be an easy transformation for any child.
For any child.
I don't think so. So I had a really troubled teen years. It was troubled teen years. I didn't think about it until, I became an adult. Actually, until I became a social worker. When you start digging deep into, when you start studying, and you're like, oh my God, I have issues. Like, I didn't know I had issues, but, and finding out, I'm like, God, I have so much issues. I had background issues. I had father issues. I had parental issues. I had love issues, emotional issues, attachment issues, rejection issues. I had so much issues growing up, and nobody saw it because I was this bubbly, very funny, cute looking girl. But inside of me, there was a lot, that was being locked down and locked down and locked down, was never addressed. And I did give my mother a whole lot of trouble, a whole lot of trouble. And growing up as an adult, and I found out that was resentment. I resented her
Of
a
course.
lot.
Of course.
I resented her a lot because I felt she didn't love me. I felt she didn't love me. I'd rather be with my grandmother, where I had to go to Isopako and get, right after, I don't know if you know Isopako,
I know
and go and pick,
Sokokono.
and go and pick stick, and go
Yeah,
and pick
for
stick.
firewood.
And, I even sold water. My mom was a banker. She was a banker with First Bank. So, she was doing good, but I was in Ibadan, selling water, Amalosi, all these prostitutes that had these stores by Isopako in Bodija. I don't know if you know the
Gotcha. Yeah.
place, who put water, we go and be selling to them and all that stuff. I was doing that. So I'd rather be with my grandmother, my niece, than to be with my mom, who put me in a boarding school. And every other weekend, I found a reason to be sick. I will make sure I was sick so they can send me home, and that didn't go well with my mom because I don't know. The Bible says, honor your mother and your father so that thy day will be, long. I will not, I'm sharing the side of parenthood, not to put down my parents, not to put down my
Oh,
parents, not to
yeah.
dishonor them in any way,
Understand.
but, to just elaborate on how, because I know there are mothers here. There are mothers here, You need to have connection with your kids
Very important. Very important.
regardless. It doesn't matter how much you resent their father, because as an adult, I found that my mother resented my dad, hated him, hated him with all the passion. And I
Wow.
felt that hatred sprinkle down at me.
Mm.
I shared in that hatred. And that was why every single mistake I made and every bad choices I made, was never forgiven until this day that we speak. We're speaking
Mm.
right now. I am still unforgiven by my
Mm.
birth mother. So,
Mm.
I,
So,
I,
so,
I,
so
I
you,
did a
you,
lot.
you, so you're saying that you and your mother right now, you guys are still not together. You guys don't talk. You guys don't do anything together.
No, not no. I reach out to her on
Mm.
occasions. Sometimes it's not like you hate your parents. You can hate your parents, but you need to love them from far away,
Mm.
far away. Just
Oh.
love them from love and honor them from far away. So I do reach out to my mom
Mm-hmm.
during this COVID. I just want to describe a scenario for you.
Mm-hmm.
You have a child, one child. Okay, this child is not anything you want her to be, not disappointed you on every level.
Your
You know,
your your only child,
yes, your
the
only
only
child.
one you have.
You don't have any. You
You
have
don't have any
thousands of
other.
adopted children, but this is the
Just
only
only
one.
one. That's your
Yes,
biological child.
child. Okay. So COVID-19, everybody's
Mm.
looking for their family members, their loved ones. I had
Mm.
to practically force my mom to reach out to me.
Mm.
Okay. So yeah. So that's how much of offense. My offenses are not forgiven.
If I may ask, how old are you now?
I'm 37. I'm gonna be 38 in September.
And no relationship at all between yourself and your mother, your birth mother.
Mhm.
Your children. How old are your kids? Do they sometimes
Uh,
ask? Do they sometimes ask about grandmother or grandmother?
Actually, my my son is going to be 17. My first
Okay.
son will be 17 in October, and I have a 7 and an 8 year old. My mom only saw my son once, my 17-year old, once, and that was in 2010 when she went home to, because I was going to get married and she wanted to see if she can come to the United States for my wedding. And that was the first time she will see my son. And my second son, who is 8 years old now, my mom saw him once. That was in 2018 because his father and his wife went to London and my mom went to see them. And then my daughter never ever met my mom. Video call, yes, but my mom has not been in my kid's life. No,
No.
no.
All right. Go ahead and tell us. Continue your story.
so so my mom takes me to Abuja, and after I was very sickly. At some point I became really sickly. It's either I was having UTI or I was anemic or I had eczema cover me from head to toe. I had a lot going on. So after JS3, she had to take me away, put me in a day school. And that was the first time I will actually really live like 4 straight months with my mom,
Mm.
you know and it was short lived, because and then she wanted to get married, and I didn't like the man. I resented the man so bad, so she had to go drop me off with some uncle. And I went to school from there, and the marriage didn't work. The man, was very hostile and brutal towards her, and then
Mm.
she had to bring me back in. And by the time she brought me back in, the marriage was almost over. The guy really did bad. I witnessed it. It's not like she telling me a story. I did witness it. And when the marriage was over and he was stalking her, she left the country. And what I'm talking about is I was about to finish secondary school. This was
Mm.
1999.
At that young
And
age.
yeah, 1999, she left to the UK. And uh, I think she came back 2000. I can't remember, but I graduated 2000,
Living
and
where? Where were you staying?
I
Did
was
you
with her
go back to
friend
where?
at that time. I
With
was
our
with her
friend.
friend.
With our
Yes,
friend. Okay.
Yeah, so I basically went from auntie to uncle to friend to, so because she
Mm,
was a banker, she was busy. And when I was old enough as a teenager, I would go home, go to school and come home myself and be by myself. So at some point, we did live together for maybe like a year, but living together was like, was more of living with seven other women because she took people in, she helped
okay.
people. You don't have a home, come. So we
Come
would
and stay
sleep,
here.
like this on the bed. She had a very big heart. She just had issues with me. So it was not like me and my
Mm,
mother living together. It was more like me, my auntie, my cousin, somebody I met, and somebody we met, and somebody we met. Everybody, we're all living together. So
okay.
and my mom goes to work 6 o'clock in the morning and comes back at 9 o'clock at night. The girl had enough time in between the day to do stuff. You know what I'm
Mm,
talking about. So, and I was grown. I was way grown above my age. I was way grown above my age. But let's not take that out. I was too wise for my own good. I was too
mm,
wise for my own good. I lived with all these aunties who've been doing stuff. So I'm learning stuff from all of these aunties. And but I was a virgin. My mom didn't know I was a virgin. My mom thought I had done all the good deeds and all that stuff.
mm,
But no, I had a pact with three of my friends of blessed memory, my best friend growing up. And we made a promise that we were going to be virgins until we get married. Now, my friend of blessed memory, we
mm,
had the same background, okay? She's not met her dad as well. Her dad, he was somewhere abroad. I can't say
mm,
exactly where.
okay.
And my birthday is the 18th. Her birthday is the 17th. So we shared
Wow.
a lot in common. And then
Mm,
one other friend of ours, we all agreed that we're going to remain virgins until we got married. And we were wild. Like we knew stuff.
mm,
We knew stuff, but we wouldn't let anybody go there. Now, my mom doesn't know about that. So when I
mm,
go to after school lesson, those WIAC lessons now,
yes.
those
Mm,
quiet lessons that we go. And
yeah.
I hang out with the boys. I did hang out with the boys. I like to hang with the boys. So when I come home late, my mom wants to put pepper in my bum, in my,
Mm. For what?
she
For
wants to put
hanging out
pepper
with the
there.
boys. For hanging out with the
For coming
boys?
home late because
Oh, for coming home late. Okay.
for coming home late. Because she thought that, I went to sleep with people. She put pepper in my eye, put pepper in my bum, and things like
Wow.
that. So anyway, which is typical. We hear a lot of parents did that. Growing up, a lot of parents
Mm,
did that. We heard a
mm,
lot of stories like that. Anyway, she left. She left to the UK, and I wanted to study theater arts. I loved Genevieve Naji. I wanted to be
mm,
like her. I wanted to act like her. So
mm,
I wrote JAMB, and University of Calabar did take me for theater art, but my mom said no, all the way from London. Anyways, she said no, I can't study theater art and all that stuff. So I got into University of Abuja for diploma in law.
okay.
And I was staying with her friend at that time. So when I got the admission to University of Abuja, I moved to campus. I was squatting with some, acquaintance and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And then she did send money for me to get my own little
Place.
studio and all that.
Okay.
So while I was in my almost the end of the first year, I met my son's father. Okay. Um, uh, oh my God. So I had really, even though I had these fantasies in my head for as long as I can remember, maybe when I was even 12, I'd created this fantasy in my head about family. I wanted a family at a young age. All these families where my mom would drop me off at are places where there was a father and a mother, and there were
Mm.
kids. There was always a father and a mother, which I never really had. So I created my own fantasy. I
In,
created
in in your
my own
head.
safe heaven.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, in my head, once I have a family, I'll never be alone. I
Mm,
wanted to have 12 children. And why was I thinking I wanted 12 children? Because I wanted them to be in pair. I want them to be two, 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 two. So none of them will ever be alone because
mm,
I was lonely. So um, that was, I created that in my head. So now I get to the university, and this man, even though there were boys came. Oh my God, I was a very beautiful, small, petite, tiny little girl like that.
Mm.
So boys did come, but that authority, I longed for authority. I longed for strong men. You take
Mm-hmm.
control. And this man shows up, 6 foot tall, handsome looking Will Smith shows up and
Mm.
had this so much authority about him. And boom, that was it. And he came after me, and everyone was, surprised because he's been around and, he's done things, but never showed off, never showed any of the girls off. And boom, I was the show off. I was Jada Pinkett and he was Will Smith.
Mm.
I was Jada Pinkett, was Will Smith. It was we were the talk of the campus. We were, I was the thing, and he disvirgined me.
Mm.
And that even made it more pronounced. The man was like, I found my wife. I introduced me to his family. Now, he wasn't a student. He wasn't a student, but he lived around the campus.
Around the campus.
Okay.
Okay.
He worked in National Assembly. So,
Okay.
boom, I knew all his family members, his mother and everything. And he said, let's get married. And I was like, I don't know, my mom. Anyway, while we're debating that, I got pregnant. Okay.
Mm.
Um, I got pregnant, and I didn't know I was pregnant. And that's the truth. I didn't know I was pregnant because um, prior to that, I had this issue. They call it ovarian cysts.
Very
So as a
system.
young child, as a teenager, I already had that issue. Okay, so and it was really bad. That time, my mom would buy GNLD. I don't know if anybody remember GNLD. I was taking a whole lot of vitamins and all that. And when I think it was 99 or 99, I can't even remember, when I had the appendix done. My mom had to beg the doctor to go there and clear it out, whatever. I don't know what they did. So, and they had said that people with ovarian cysts, they find it difficult to get pregnant.
To get
And I'll
pregnant.
have this episode, I'll have these cramps, occasionally have the cramps. Occasionally I will have the cramps.
Mm.
So this cramp came and I thought it was the same, but it was more severe. And, I went to my mom's friend and she worked with CBN, lived in CBN quarters, and she took me to her doctor. Now, it was the doctor that found that I was pregnant. I didn't know I was pregnant. So
Mm.
I didn't find out I was pregnant before my mom. My mom found out before me because a friend definitely told my mom,
Mm.
that I was pregnant. So now, when I was told that I was pregnant, the guy was happy. The father of the baby was ecstatic. He was so happy that I was pregnant. We're gonna get married, we'd have kids, da 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 da. And then it was not left for me to break it to my mom. I knew I was dead, like I was dead. I knew I was dead, and I found the courage, summoned all the courage, and I told my mom. And what my mom said was, "Thank you." She said, "Thank you." And she said, for everything I did for you, you got pregnant. Thank
Mm.
you. And that killed me right there. That
She
killed
was
me.
disappointed.
I was extremely disappointed.
Mm.
And that killed me right there. But she cut off from me from that. She cut off. That was the first time my mom cut off from me, completely cut off. What I'm telling you is, I didn't see my mother until I was 7.5 months pregnant.
Mm.
Okay, and this was, my mom left, I think finally 2000, early 2000. I can't really remember, 99 or 2000. And then I got pregnant in 2003. Okay,
Mm.
so this fateful afternoon, I had moved from the house she rented for me, and I moved in with the guy because she wouldn't have anything to do with me. And let me chip this in. Her family weren't really on my side from the beginning, so I was this bastard child.
Your
I
mother's
was this
family.
bastard. Yeah, I
Okay.
was this bastard child that gave their sister stress anyways.
Mm.
So as a child, I really didn't have much of a relationship with her family members. As a matter of fact, at some point, I felt I was hated by them. Like, I was practically hated by them. So, now my mother cut me off, completely cut off. I move in with the guy, and this afternoon with my big stomach, somebody knocks on the door, and I get to the door. It was my mother's immediate younger brother at the door, and I was like, "Uncle," and my mother just slide. I saw my mom, and it was like the ground she opened. Let me enter. Just bury me like that, and and she was like, "Follow me now, or you never see me again." And I left a note for my then boyfriend, and I went with my mom. And then my mom had written it that she needs to see him ASAP. So, and he needs to come with his family members. So my mom took me to my uncle's house, and that Saturday, as she requested, he came with his Kingsmen to see my mom. And that afternoon, my mom said, "I'm taking my daughter to my hometown, and I need you to bring your people from the village to my hometown." Now she was taking me to Asaba. Okay. The man is from Ebonyi State. So, and I think this was like a Tuesday, a Monday, I can't remember. So we left to Asaba, and that weekend, this man, yes, showed up with his Kingsmen. Because remember, he wanted to marry me, right? He wanted to marry me. So it was not like he pregnanted me and took off. No. So he came with his family members, but I was locked. I was locked up in a room. I couldn't come out. So I was locked up in a room. I didn't know what happened during the meeting. I couldn't say. But all I knew, yeah, all I knew was that after that meeting, I never heard from the man again. I never heard from Ikechukwu. I never heard a word from him again. And while I was pregnant in Abuja, we made so much plans for the baby. We couldn't know what the sex. I had this strong desire to know what sex I was having, but we couldn't find out. Every time we went for the ultrasound, the baby wouldn't reveal. So I went when I got to Asaba, and he wouldn't. And then we had a date. I think I was supposed to have the child the 20 something of the month, but so I said, let me wait till I didn't hear from him September, and the baby was gonna come in October. So this everything that happened in August, right? So September, this is a man that couldn't do without me. It
So
was strange. I just didn't hear from
they
him
must have
anymore.
told him something that made him to run away.
Yeah, I'm coming to that.
Okay.
So I didn't hear from this man anymore. I wasn't allowed to use a phone. I was not allowed to use a phone. Now my mom dropped me off. As soon as she had the meeting with the family and the guy, she took off. She went back to London. So I was dropped off there. I didn't have access to anything. I couldn't. I was forbidden from even going out. And because I felt guilty, yes, I disappointed my mom. She told me to go to school, and I got pregnant, and I didn't even graduate my diploma. you know so I waited. Okay, since we have the 20 something as birth date, maybe he'll show up. But I had the baby on the 6th of October. I had the baby 6th of October, and I was like, okay, let me wait till the 20 something. And the 20 something came, and there was no word. November came, December came, January came, February came. Now I had the best friend. Um, she was the best friend. uh, I want to point out that at every time in my life, as I've grown to remember, God has always placed people in strategic places for me.
Mm, mm,
So that's my conviction that God knew. He was the one who wrote my journey. He made my father and my mother give birth to me. Because I've questioned him several times. Why did I have to have this kind of parents? Why? You know. So at this point in my life, there was always someone. There was always someone. There was always a lady or a man that would help me pass through something. Okay.
something.
So I had this very best friend. So during that time that my mother cut me off, she was in school, University of Abuja, studying economics, and she was from a well-to-do home, and she would go home, and she would bring double of the provision. My mom is in London, my dad is in America. Everybody knows that this is Janded baby, but Janded baby was hungry. Janded baby was shabby. Janded baby was not. So she would double every provision. And that time runs was in vogue. All the university girls
Aristo.
were
The
into runs.
Aristo stuff.
Yeah, so I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it because my mother was the secretary to the AGM of First Bank, and my mother knew so many top people. So you want me to go and do Aristo, and then my
They're
mother
gonna
comes
get you.
back and say, "Let's go and visit Alaji Shagamu." And Alaji Shagamu is somebody that I had slept with, so I couldn't do any of that. So I had that fear in me. I couldn't do Aristo. I couldn't do runs. So, and I had this young man that gave me all the love that I needed. So when that time of struggling came, and she would double everything. She would go for runs, and when she comes back in the morning, she say, Oremi, nǹkan tí wọ́n fún mi rèé, nǹkan tí mo gbà wá rèé, 20,000. Oh yeah, you're gonna gba five. And that was how I blessed God for her. Okay. So February came after the baby, and February 14, I was in the backyard, and I hear call, 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 call. Who is here? Oh, I said, this voice, Adetutu, this voice. I ran from the back of the house to the front. Oremi. She came all the way from Abuja to Delta State. And when I saw her, my life, it was like I was relieved. How did you find here? She said, my son's father gave her the address and the direction, and she wanted to come. And she came, and I was her Valentine. And that was how I got reconnected to my son's father. That was how I knew what transpired that August. Okay, Pastor. So it was my mom told them, we are from reputable family. I need to go to school until I finish school. If I decide to marry, then I'll marry. Actually, I think I'm putting it down mildly. I think it was more of a putting down of a whole family, of a whole family. And knowing my mom, I can imagine how she went about it. And she told him never to come back. And it
Wow.
was up for me. It was my choice after I'd gone to school and graduated to decide whether I would going to marry him or not. And that was how he never came back. According to him, my mother used wealth to slap his whole entire family. Okay, so of course, when someone who is rich, who is janded, threatens you that you can't afford the police station, you run now. So that was it. That's how the man disappeared. And from that on, we started talking. I started secretly, phone call, giving phone call, and we started planning on my escape. So it was an escape. So, Pastor, my mother is already super disappointed that I got pregnant, right? I disappointed the whole family. I lived I lived shamefully in the family house. I felt horrible in my life. I felt like a failure. Now the man is back. This is the person I feel safe with. This is my safe heaven. This is my first love. This is the only man I feel that love me on earth, at that time. So we made a plan on Easter Sunday. He was going to leave Abuja Saturday and go straight to Onitsha. So Easter Sunday, I need to find a way to run with our son to Onitsha so we can run back to Abuja. And that was exactly what I did. My grandmother, oh, Mama, Neje church, and my beer. Me and the boy, we dey come. Go, we are coming to church. Easter Sunday, Mama started agili. Me self, I'm preparing like I'm going to church. And then when the coast was clear, I took off, got to the bus station, entered the bus. The man was waiting for me in Onitsha. As I got to Onitsha, we got into the next bus. Boom, Abuja.
Mm.
Now, offense number 2.
Mm.
I got pregnant, brought disgrace to the family. Number 2, I put you somewhere. I took you and I placed you with my parents and you left. So that was offense number 2. I didn't speak to my mom for over 2 years, I think. She
Mm.
wouldn't have anything to do with me. Now, when I went back to this man, things had changed. We were no longer Romeo and Juliet. We were no longer Jada Pinkett and Will Smith. We were something else, something ugly.
Mm.
And he became extremely violent. He would
Wow.
beat the crap out of me, you know.
Wow.
Ẹnu mi ò dẹ̀ dá. Ẹ mọ̀ pé àwa tí wọ́n bí nìbàdàn, ẹnu wa bí ẹnu razor ni. Kẹ́ tó sọ ẹyọ kan àti máa sọ mẹ́wàá. So ẹnu mi ò dá. My mouth was not good. So when you abuse me 1, me, I will abuse you 100.
I know, right?
So, so the man will beat me pieces. He will beat me to a point I will faint. He will
Wow.
pour me water. Is when he's pouring me water, I'll wake up. That's how much he will beat me.
Mm.
So he had so much anger. It was later he told me that his anger was he doesn't trust whether if my mother shows up, I was going to leave again with my mom. I was going to go again with my mom since my mom controls my life and all that. So, but I don't know why he became extremely brutal towards me. And Oman Nomi, he would beat me, I will faint. And when I wake up, he's on his knees begging and seeking for forgiveness, and over and over and over again until I was like, you know what, I'm done. You will not beat me till I die. So I ran away. I took my son and I ran away.
Again.
And this, again from him. Now I left Asaba 2014, right? By the end of 2014, I wasn't with him anymore. I'd moved in with one of my nanny of blessed memory. God bless her wherever she is. I don't know if she's alive or if she's dead. She took me in, she took me in with my son and we stayed with her. Now, remember my best friend that I told you about?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so when I came back to Abuja, there was this constant man that she had. She told the guy about me, and the man, that I needed a job. Now, you remember I didn't complete my diploma in law. It was
Mm-hmm.
water under the bridge. She said I needed a job. Now the man had a friend, a female friend, who had a decoration
Kind of business, yeah.
interior decoration
Interior
business.
decoration business. Okay.
And that was how I got my first job. Okay. So I started working. So when the violence became so much, I ran away to Mama Olu. Mama Olu took me in with Samuel, my son, and we started staying there until I saved enough money and I got a little room in a house and we started living there. Now my best friend Tutu moved from the hostel. She was still in school and moved in with me. It was beautiful. I was happy. And then one day I was going to work, and one of my friends, not really friends, friend of a friend of a friend of a friend, met me at the bus stop and said, "You moved in with this person?" I said, "Yes." Say, "That's how they would have given you poison. You will eat and you will die." I said, "What does that mean?" Say, "Don't you know that girl that you call your sister, not even your friend, you didn't know she was sleeping with your son's father when you were in Asaba, when you went to give birth?"
Wow.
I was on my way to work. I said, "Eh?" She described so many scenarios. "Oh, did you see the power bike? Oh, they painted the town on the power bike. And they did. I'm like, Oremi. It's not possible. It's not possible. So when I got to work, I couldn't stay. I called her. That time to have a phone it's a big man thing. So we'll go to phone booth.
Mm.
Those umbrella now.
Yeah.
So I went there in front of the complex where I worked, and I called her. I said, Oremi, what happened between you and Ikechukwu? Hey, yeah. That question, what do you mean? The attack I got right there, I started crying. I said, "Just stay home. Don't go. I'm coming. Just stay. Stay where you are. Don't go. I'm coming."
Mm.
So I ran home. I called my boss and I said, I'm not feeling fine. I won't come to work because I hadn't gotten into work. I just stopped at the junction now and made a
Mm-hmm.
call. So I ran back. I ran back home, take the bus. I was living in Gwagwalada and
Mm-hmm.
working in Gerikitu. Okay.
Okay.
So I took the bus and went back home. By the time I got home, my friend has packed all her load. She had left
Whoa.
the house. She had left the
Guilty friend.
Yeah. I started crying. The nanny was like, how that all those things. I was busy still sitting down crying when she came in her shorts. She was coming to fight. I said, why are you coming to fight? Just tell me it didn't happen. For where she came to pick the remaining of the thing, the mirror that she bought, she broke it. It made a huge scene. And I'm just sitting down there like, what happened? You're my sister. And that was how I found out that during the time this man I was staying with my son's father, I realized when I came back, the relationship we all had wasn't there. She didn't want to have anything to do with him. He didn't want to have anything to do with her. So I was like in the middle, like the friendship we all had wasn't there anymore. It was strange, but I didn't know it was, according to him, she was dating his friend and something happened. So I didn't know it was between them. I thought it was just some kind of fuse. I didn't know. So now I put it together. So when I asked this man, why would you be sleeping with my friend?
Mm.
And he told me bluntly, don't you know she has hot pants? And he now confessed that every time he beat me up, it was because she told him something. Your golden
Oh.
girl. One man has approached her. One man gave her
Oh.
money. So when I
Oh.
come home, innocently, any small arguments, bang, bubbles, bang, 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 bang. So I didn't understand. So we were having issues. On my birthday, somebody was like, let me take you out and all that. And all that. I was like, okay, let me just get away from this man. And just, the love was no longer there. It was not like whatever. And I was young. How old was I? I was like 24, 23,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. So I went out. It wasn't romantic. It was just friends, hang out. When I came back, this man beat me on my birthday. Pastor, he beat me to the point that day I thought he was going to kill me. I
Mm.
felt he was going to kill me because at some point after he beats me, this where we live, there was a self-contained one room, self-contained. And the kitchen was like this corner. After the guy beats me, in short, one of the slap even hit my son.
Mm.
He beats me so much that he got up and went into the kitchen. And in my heart, I'm like, he's going to get a knife. He will kill you today. Because he said, nobody, if I can't have you, nobody will. That's what he said. So when he went in the kitchen with my sore body, I knew I was just, this is death. I'm just going to die here. This is it. He's going to kill me. And he went twice into the kitchen
Mm.
and came back and looked at me and went back the second time and came back and looked at me. And I was just like, if I'm going to die, let me just die. But he just stomped out of the house. And that was when I knew that I needed to leave. This man is going to kill me.
Mm.
So it was him that now told me. He now told me everything. He said, yeah, you people went to this, you people. And she was there. It was not like I went there with a guy. She was there.
Mm.
So all of that frustration. Anyway, that was how she exited my life. That was my first betrayal. That was the first betrayal I could, ever point to. And I moved on. I got into distant learning. I started studying political science. Now, let me backtrack a little bit.
Okay.
2014, no, yeah. So I left him, right? And I got an apartment. Now he came back after a month to beg for us to come back. I love this man, right, Pastor? I'm in love with
I
this
know.
man.
I know you love him.
Yeah. So
Women always love people like that can beat the hell out of them.
so so he wanted to marry me. I said, okay, my mother is out of the picture. My mother would never, ever agree, for us to get married. Now, I've not spoken to my mom since I left Asaba. I've not spoken to my mom. Okay. My father. Now, my father, this is the last place I remember of where my father's mother is. Inukoko, Bodija, Yegba. You have to go there. Once you find my grandmother, you will find my dad.
Mm.
This man left us Abuja and went to Ibadan and looked for my grandmother. And the moment he found my grandmother, that was how my dad came into the picture of my life.
Mm.
So that was how they finally found me. So apparently they searched for me. Ibadan to Abuja is far. There's no phone. There's no address, no nothing. So they couldn't find me. But my grandmother said that she told God that she would not die until they find me. So that was how my dad came into the picture. But unfortunately for the guy, when my dad came into the picture, my dad resented him as well. My dad didn't like
Mm.
him.
Okay.
My dad didn't like him at all because he was arrogant. Yes,
Mm.
he was arrogant.
Mm.
2004. Thank you for correcting me. 2004, 2014. Yeah, 2004. Thank you. So my dad, over the phone, he was very arrogant towards my dad. You know, because he's an arrogant person naturally. So my dad really didn't like him. But I grew up. Now I'm an adult. I found out my dad is more of a liberal person. Does it work for you? Go ahead. It doesn't work for you. Get out. That's my dad, and that's how he has dealt with me till this day. Okay, so he found my father. We found my father, and my father was like, Anyway, we were building the relationship, me and my dad, reconnecting. And 2005, my dad came back to Nigeria. He came back with his wife to Nigeria. So apparently that was a complete show of a repentant parent. Okay, he had excuses. He had excuses that were not. I don't think they were enough. I don't think they were enough because he knew where my mom was. Okay, he would have come home at some point and go to where he knew she would be. He knew where she worked, and he knows her name. So he would have, in the search for me, according to his story, he would have gone a little bit extra by going to First Bank Suleja to go and look for my mom, but he never did. Okay. And I grew up to become an adult and a mother before he met me. But, anyways, he came home right away. 2005, my dad came back home. And it was so funny because he was in Lagos and it was in a hotel. And when I got there with my son, I approached the lobby and I was like, I'm looking for my dad. I'm looking for so person, and the guy couldn't say anything. The guy was just looking at me, smiling. And I'm in my head, I'm like, why are you smiling? I'm asking you that I need to see Mr. Aji Olubenga Ajibade Yakubu. Why are you smiling? You know, not knowing that my father was just staring at me in the corner. The person beside me was my dad. He was just
Ooh.
looking at me. So I turned and here you are, my father's face. I'm like, Daddy, say Yemisi. And that was how we reconnected. And
Mm.
and that's how the story has been. So, anyways, my mom wasn't happy. I contacted my mom right away, and started trying to mend the relationship with my mom, And I feel she was trying as well, but, forgiveness was an issue. But,
Mm.
so now before she left to the UK, she had built a house in Abuja. Now, so that house was practically empty. And so she asked me to move to the house with her sister. So we're living there. But I didn't tell her that I was still talking to my son's father. It was over. To her knowledge, it was over, but it wasn't over. So the man would still come from Lagos because he now moved to Lagos, and he would now still come from Lagos to come visit me and his son. Now, 2006.
Mm.
Yes, 2006. El Rufai was going to demolish that part of Abuja. Okay.
Mm.
El-Rufai was going to demolish that part of Abuja. I don't know. Pastor, cut me short if I'm talking too much.
No. We just keep going. Let's
Okay.
keep going.
So El-Rufai was going to destroy that side of Abuja, and we had to move. And this man says, just come to Lagos, move to Lagos, move to Lagos and be with me, and we'll
The
get
same
married.
guy, the same
Yes,
guy that almost killed you
yes, yes.
is still in your life.
It's still in my life. Yes.
And this is the guy that is now saying, come to Lagos, moving with me. So what did you say?
I did.
Then you
I
moved.
moved.
Okay, keep going.
I resigned.
Okay.
I resigned. My mom gave me the option of moving to her village, but I was already traumatized by my village experience. So
Yeah.
I didn't have to me at that time, I didn't have any other choice. The only safe choice for me is to go to where my heart was, which was with this man. So I moved with my son to Lagos, offense number 3.
Mhm.
So I moved and I started working. I found a job at the school
Mhm.
and I started working. Hmm. So everything was going okay. And then I met somebody. I was a pretty girl. I wasn't married, but I was in a relationship. And I was standing in Ikorodu Junction every morning. I'm going to GRA Ikeja. So one day now, one man where they see me every day, kukuma stop. I just say na boss. Pastor, I just say na boss. So my people, I just say na, people use their car for taxi.
Mhm.
People use their car for taxi. And it wasn't strange. But that particular day, the man only picked me. It was only me he picked. And we got talking, and we got talking, cracking and jovial, and all that, and all that, and all that. So it was when we were now discussing. I told him where I was going, where I worked. It was like, oh, I can pick you every single day and bring you back. I work in Ikeja. Though I don't know where he worked. I can't remember. And I passed through that GRA bridge. So I can always pick you up from there and drop you by the bridge and pick you up from the bridge and drop you. And that was so convenient for me. I didn't know that my ex was always following me to the bus stop. I didn't know that. I didn't know he knew when I got in the cars and when I came back. I didn't know that. So this particular day, I came back and it was hell. The man beats me to the point that, that time, I don't know if anybody can remember. These tiny braids. They will braid it tiny. They will not put attachments at the tip. They put attachment at the tip that if somebody is looking for you at you from the afar, they would think you did packing gel. I don't know if anybody remember that hairstyle. That hairstyle was in vogue. So that was
Okay.
what I had on.
Mhm.
That was what I had on. So that day, he beat the crap out of me and he grabbed my hair from the back because I think I was running or something. And I could hear the hair on my head going and then it was dangling. My hair was dangling. He beats me so much. In between, he will beat me, right? I didn't talk about that because, but this was a significant beating. This one was a significant beat. This one was a kill and die beating because I was caught red-handed coming out of a man's car. So I didn't have any excuse. Was there no boss? Was there no anything? And I was laughing and giggling. That means I am sleeping with the man. So correct, correct beating. So
Mhm.
thank God. But Pastor, you see, this our God.
Mhm.
This our God. Kò sí nǹkan t'Ọlọ́run ò mọ̀. There's nothing that God doesn't know. When I was going to move to Lagos, when I was going to relocate to Lagos, this man looked for house, look for house, look for house, look for house. He didn't find. He now found this particular boys' quarters. Okay,
Mhm.
this woman, her husband they lived in the UK and then retired back home. The man died, and she's alone with their youngest son. Now they have a backyard, boys' quarters at the back, a one-bedroom boys' quarters. Okay, there was a lot of aggro, a lot of stress. He didn't go about it the right way, and all that and all that. We showed up at the woman's gate, and the woman had pity on me and my son, and that was how she let us into that place. Pastor, if we had not lived in that compound, that man would have killed me, and he would have killed me, and nobody, excuse me, nobody would have been able to do anything about it, because my mother was in London angry, and my father was back in the United States, only on the phone. She doesn't know this man. He didn't see this man. He doesn't know. No, if this man had killed me till today, nobody would be able to find this man. Okay, but God made sure that we moved into this particular compound, where there was somebody 247. Now, this woman will come out and say, "Ìyá wo ló máa bírú ọmọ báyìí tó máa sọ ọ́ nù? Hey, Yemisi, hey, Abiamo, hey, wọ́n á kọ̀ pa ọmọ ẹ̀ dànù, because the beating no be for here, the beating are correct ones. But I didn't have anywhere to go. And the woman would lament and lament and lament. So this particular day, this man was mad. The anger was from the pit of hell itself. And the man was ready for me to die because he caught me. I was coming out of a man's car. And if you see me the way I am, Osha Prapra, if they tell you, say, they commit adultery, you will not doubt it. You will not doubt it, because the way I'll be doing shikri, you will think they are finished totaling me. They didn't totally me. It's just the way I am. So the man was upset. The man was mad, and he beat the crap out of me. And there was this metal, this steel, aluminum or steel metal pillar in the middle of the compound, and he held on to the back of my head, and he was pushing me forcefully towards that metal. When I saw that I was going to that metal, I knew I was going to die. So I stretched out my hand and I held, and I was screaming and yelling. The woman, thank God for her. If she's still alive, God will bless her, because I lost complete touch. I lost contact with them when I ran away. The woman shot a gun. It was the sound of the gun that stopped my son's father from finishing me that day. It was the shot of that gun. She had to shoot for him to stop. Now, sorry about that. So now, she took me into her house right away. And she said she was not going to release me until, he brings his people, that he will not come and kill somebody's child inside our compound. He did a lot of stuff. At some point, he wanted to get rich so badly. And this mama is Sele, she's Sele. So her spiritual antenna was so wide open. And every time say, Kí ló ń ṣe pẹ̀lú ọmọkùnrin yìí? Kí ló ń ṣe pẹ̀lú ọmọkùnrin yìí? Ìyá ẹ̀ dà, ọmọ yìí, ìyá rẹ̀ dà. That's what she would always say to me. Ibo ni ìyá ọmọ yìí wà? Ìyá ẹ̀ dà. Irú abiyamọ wo ló máa sọ ọmọ tó dà báyìí nù? Anyways. He dabbled into stuff. He would go to 3-day whatever inside the forest, and when he comes back, he's coming back with some kind of solution. At some point, maggot was raining inside our room, our bedroom. I'll just be sleeping. Something maggots, and you'll be wondering, like, cover the whole of the bed where me and the boy will be sleeping, and God delivered me. I don't know what he would have done to me if God was not on my side, because it was later, it was like, at some point they told him to use something to sleep with me, but he was scared that if he used it to sleep with me, maybe his kinecon will not stand again, or maybe he will die, or maybe I will die, or something negative will happen to me. So that's why he didn't use it, Anyway, so this woman said, I'm done. This girl will not die here. Go and bring your people. I need to see your people, so that go and bring your pastor. I need to see people here so that this girl, you not kill her here. Let me have people that I'm going to tag you to. He brought his people, and I told the woman, I said I was done. This is 2016, towards the ending of 2016. I said I was done. I'm not gonna go. I don't want to stay with him anymore. I don't want to do anything with him anymore. My dad too was like, yes, you need to go. But now I know I won't be able to escape. He's gonna kill me. I'm not gonna escape it. So um me and the woman, we started planning. God is good. God is good. Me and the woman, we started planning. And this he stopped going to work. That week he didn't go to work. So we said, okay, when am I going to travel? I told them I was going to leave and go to Ibadan to my grandmother's, but we knew I wasn't going to Ibadan. So we said, okay, when am I going to travel? I told them I was going to leave and go to Ibadan to my grandmother's, but we knew I wasn't going to Ibadan. So we told him a particular day I was traveling. And then the day before, he went out, and the moment he stepped out, the woman came. Oh, yeah, be back here. I put my son on my back. I carried one on my head. The woman carried one. So he went this way. Me and her, we went the other way. So pam 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 pam. As soon as we got to the bus stop, there was a bus. I jumped in the bus. Odabo. I got to Ojota. As soon as I got to Ojota, they had one passenger left to go to Abuja. One passenger. And that passenger was me and my son. That was how I got in the car. And that's how the bus left. And that was how I was removed from that relationship. Now, before, when he beats me and I leave and I run away, he will always give me like a month or two and then come back. And the moment I see him, end of story. I'm back. Yes. The moment I see him, I'm back. End of story. So once I came back, I connected with a godfather that I knew. He was a father. He's still a father to my mom, and he watched me growing up. I didn't know where else to go, so I went to Alaji and I said, Alaji, this is what happened. Alaji said, okay, I'll give you a job, and that's how he gave me a job at the microfinance bank. And that's how me and my mom started talking again. Okay. But my dad was still in the picture. My dad was still strongly in the picture. My dad would send me money, take care and all that. And he had started. So my dad came 2005. And the moment he came back to the United States, he put in my papers. He put in my papers.
So he brought you to the US
My
with him.
dad brought me to the US. So, by 2008, it was time for me to travel. Now, my dad said, I can only afford you. I cannot afford for you to bring your son. You know, my mom is still trying to forgive me, right? I've had too many offenses in her book, and she's trying to forgive me and by giving me another chance now. And I'm trying to be a listening daughter, an obedient daughter, just so that we don't continue this, because I wanted a blessing from my parents. So I wanted to travel. My mom wasn't okay. Baba, irresponsible, all this stuff. And now I wanted to travel. I wanted to travel. My mom said, I said, okay, let me take the child to the father. My mom said, no, take him to my parents to take care of him. I said, no, let me take him to his father. No, take him. So took my child to my mom's people. Took him to my mom's people and left him there and came to the United States. And my son was there from 2014 up until 2013. Now, this is where the story.
2004
So
to
from
2000.
from 2008 to 2014.
14.
Yes, that was how far I was away from my son. And at that time, I think I gave birth to my son at 2003, and 2008, 5 years later, I needed to travel. So my son was 5 years old when I had to travel. So now I got to the United States 2008, 2009, went to CNA school and all that stuff. And then while in school, I met this very young man, and, he liked me. Marriage right away. I want to marry you. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, found out he's a divorcee, has 2 kids, had some unpleasant, history with women, blah, 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 blah. He was a year older than my mom. And that was it. My mom said no.
Okay.
Who will respect who? Ta ló fẹ́ kitani? Who will respect who? My mom
Your
said
mom said no before the marriage or after the marriage?
no. Before, as soon as the guy said he wanted, she found out about the man, and I gave her information about the man.
Yeah.
She said no. He's a year older than her. Is he a year older? Yeah, he's a year older than her. She said no.
Okay.
And like I told you, Pastor, I like men with authority, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You know, I like men that would take control. It was just inside of me,
It was because you had no father figure growing up.
Yeah.
So you were missing that part of you because you were looking for a man to act as a husband at the same time as a father, to you. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So, it was a no. And so that relationship had to go. And then I started praying. How old was I there? I can't even remember how old was I. 27. And I started praying. I wanted to get married. I started working. I was a CNA, certified nursing assistant. And, I started working at a behavioral health hospital. And I wanted to get married. And there were men. It was not like there were no men. There were men. There were young men who were coming around, and at some point I had 6 suitors on my list. And prayer had been something inside of me. Okay, unconsciously. It's later I realized that, yeah, I've always prayed. I didn't know I always prayed. So I started praying. I said, okay, I think I'm at my peak. I think I'm at that time. If I don't get married now, and I'm a single mother, if I don't get married now, no man will marry if I cross 30. And one thing I want to make clear is that while I was growing up, when I had my son, it was during my son's pregnancy, I got to weigh spiritually my father's house and my mother's house. So I saw the peculiar struggles of my mother's side and my father's side. And I knew what I was up against. Okay. So 30 was a mark for me because in my mother's side, marriage was an issue. Marriage was an issue for the women. My father's side, it was poverty. Okay. So I knew I was against something. And my son, Samuel, when I found out about, a little bit of the background of my mother's side, I had to pray to God. I went to Mountain of Fire. I fasted and I told God, I said, God, I do not want this child to be a girl. I fasted, that 3 days, Pastor. I don't know if you did that Mountain of Fire marathon. I did that 3 days with pregnancy, and I kept telling God that I do not want my child to be a girl. I want this child to be a boy because I don't want a continuity of what has just happened to me.
So your mother is still single right now and no other children apart from you.
If she's still single, I don't know, but no other kids, no kids.
Just only you.
Just me, yeah. So I refused for that child to have a child, to be a boy, until I had a dream. And in that dream, God said, name your child. And I gave my son 3 names in that dream. When I woke up, I told my grandmother, I said, I'm going to have a boy. I told God, I don't want a girl. I'm going to have a boy. And the moment from that on to the birth of that child was warfare. I almost died. It was serious spiritual warfare that everyone had to keep me in prayers because everyone saw me dead with the child and all that. The warfare I wasn't fighting before. Something you were not fighting before. All of a sudden, I started fighting serious warfare. So I felt at the age of 30, if I reach 30, I no marry. I no go ever marry again because that is what is happening on this side. And I don't want to be there. Remember, I have this fantasy that my life will be okay when I get married. I will be okay. No more loneliness. No more crying alone. No more carrying burdens alone. That's my thing. So I started praying. I went into 40-day fast. And if my mom ever stumbled on this video, I pray that she will attest to it. Okay. And she was like, Kilo ongbawe fun. I'm like, I don't know, but I just want to fast. I want to fast because I want to get married. I don't want to be 30 and not be married, And, she encouraged me. And one of the prayers was, Lord, remove the chaff from the weeks. I think that was one of the prayer. And then now I got narrowed down to two men. Now my mother is in the picture, because we're trying to mend the relationship. Mother, I was happy I had my mom in my life, and I gave her a say. I gave my mom a say. I gave her authority because I didn't give her that, and that affected our relationship all the while. I wouldn't listen. I would just do what I wanted to do. So this time I gave her the platform. So I told my mom, I said, okay, I have these two men left. Now, this one is like me. When I think, before I finish my statement, he completes it. Now, this one is nothing like me. Go school. In short, now here you go school. He's not from the kind of background that you want. He's not, he's completely, and he's so quiet, and I don't know what to do with him, but he's still on my list, And my mom said, I quote her today. She said, when this other person is like you people might clash. You remember I was looking at God, I was looking to God. I was seeking God's face regarding marriage. Okay, until it was narrowed down to two people, right? Pastor, when it narrowed down to two people, I removed God from the picture. I removed God from the picture. Okay. And I started analyzing physically. And me and my mom, like, this one, we can make him what we want. Show my way, who I expose. So we'll make him what we want. He will go to school. I'm okay, Bali. Who they quiet? Who are okay? Who are nice? So really, you that you I need to get mama clash. And that was how I went with that choice. Okay. When the man finally proposed and I accepted the proposal, I started praying again. I went back and started praying again. And I would ask God, is it the one? 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 And every time, each time, there was a negative response to me. Okay, all the pastors that were praying all said he was my husband. Okay, all the pastors praying. My mom accepted this guy, so that was a plus one. Okay, that was the most important decision. Okay, now every other pastor that she spoke to, that I spoke to, said yes, is the one. Okay, but when I go on my knees and I pray, it's not the one. Okay, there was a time I even said, God, give me a sign. Okay, just give me a sign that this is not him. I was unsettled. The decision to marry this person was unsettling to me. It was unsettling to me. And I was like, God, just give me a sign. And one day after praying, the Holy Spirit said, go to his house now. I got to his house unannounced. And when I opened the door, I don't have any problem, just in case there's any Muslim, there are Muslims on this platform. I do not have any problem with any Muslim person. We serve the same God. I don't have any problem with any Muslim person. So please don't take this personal. So when I opened the door, I found my fiance praying the Muslim way. And I was like, what? I screamed when I opened the door, and right away he got up and was like, and I slammed the door and I started leaving. I'm like, do not be unequally yoked with an unbeliever. Do not be unequally yoked with that. That was all that was coming in my head. And I called my mom and like, Mommy, he's a Muslim. Oh, I cannot marry a Muslim. My mom said, calm down. Sorry, this thing keeps falling down. Sorry, I'm a dramatic person. So it's a little drama. My mom was like, calm down. Let me talk to him. Let me talk to him. Calm down, calm down. And, she said, let me talk to him. She finally did talk to him and told me, Yemisi, he's only confused. His own faith. His faith is still young. He used to be from a Muslim family, and just 10 years a Christian. So he's still a little bit confused. And that was how that died down. That was the last time I got a clue from God. That was the last time. There was no prayer I prayed. There was no more. No more. I wouldn't hear anything. And then I married this man. On my wedding day, the wedding night,
Mhm.
I cried when it was just me and him now in the room. I looked, I'm like, I'm married to this man. Oh. I started crying. He didn't know why I was crying. He was worried at first, and it was like, "Why are you crying?" And thought I was super happy. No, I was done. I'm like, I'm finished. I married this person. And the honeymoon, I forced myself to be happy. To be sincere with you, I forced myself to be happy, but I was happy because my mom was happy. I was happy because everybody was, and I've satisfied the status quo
Mhm.
of marriage is the highest achievement for a woman. I satisfied it. I'm no longer a single mother. Now I'm married.
Mhm.
So the world will not look at me as a failure anymore. The world will not. So all of that. But before we got married, I told him, I said, I didn't finish my school in Nigeria. I had 1 year left, and my dad was like, you come to America, there's nothing you're going to do with the Nigerian certificate, so forget it. Forget the school. Yeah, is what under the bridge. So I left everything. So I told him, I said, I have to wait 1 year. And 2010, I'm going to go back to school. You need to go to school too, because he didn't go to school. I think he went to secondary school in Nigeria, and I don't even know if he finished. And it was because of poverty, no family. This He won a lottery when he got here by lottery. So I didn't bring him here. I met him here. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go to school. That's my goal. I disappointed my mom when she put me in school. I got pregnant, so I have to satisfy that. I have to clear out that disappointment. So I'm gonna go to school. And he was like, yes. So 2010, before we even got married, spring, I enrolled in Los Angeles Southwest College, and he enrolled in LA, Trade Tech. And I started picking it up from there. We got married, and the first year was a struggle for me, but this man loves me. Man loves me so much. So I have to develop that love. I have to be at that point with him. And then I got pregnant with our first son. It was during the pregnancy, everything changed. Okay. We had challenges. We had challenges before the pregnancy. Now I'm pregnant with my first child, and I couldn't recognize who this man was. So now, before I married him, when I put water in his mouth tonight, when I come back tomorrow afternoon, one drop of water has not left. I will measure it, it will be the same measurement. You
Mhm.
understand me, Pastor? That's
Mhm.
how quiet he was. If he will say one word, and I will say 1 million. Huh. That was what I was used to. Now I'm pregnant, heavy pregnant. I think I was like 5 months. And if I say one word, this man will say 1,000. I'm like, excuse me, who are you again? Where did you come from? Who is this person? Where's my husband? And then I couldn't find my husband anymore. My husband was gone. I couldn't recognize who this person was. I couldn't recognize who this person was. He typical, I'm sorry, Pastor, typical Yoruba man. About boomy báyìí, orí mi á gbóná báyìí, time, 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 fireworks. I'll have the fireworks in my head. And I noticed he was selfish. He didn't know how to take. I was looking for a man to take care of me, not financially. I was independent. I became a single mother at 21. So I knew how to take care of myself, monetary wise and everything, to provide for myself. But I needed a man to take care of me, to make a decision that I would support and connect. And I needed a man. I don't know how to explain it. I didn't need just a man standing.
Mhm.
I needed a man in every aspect of life. I
Wow.
needed a man who could make decisions. I didn't have that. So I'm married to this man, and I was still making decisions.
Mhm.
I'm married to this man. I'm still the one saying, okay, so we are going to move to Houghton. I'm the one that say, hey, this house is getting too small for us. So let's move to
The bigger
Gardena.
house. Mhm.
So that was me. And I'm married to this man. But if we have a quarrel, the Ebu no go be for here. Anyways, So when I was pregnant with our first son, it became very bad. It became, the argument was so bad. It was so bad that I said I was done. I was done. And he had to run to the pastor. And our pastor as a then, and our pastor was started counseling. I told the pastor what my struggle with him was. Now, when I met him, he was a security guard, okay? And I was a CNA, okay? He was making like $8 an hour. I was making like $9 an hour. Our money was our money. We put it together. Our first bed we bought together. The first couch we had, somebody gave it to us. The first freezer we had, somebody gave it to us. So we practically built, from nothing. So now, he got a job with the city and jumped from $8 to $16. And it kept moving up. Now the money becomes my money. And I am a saving person. I love to save. So I set up a family account. I set up a family account and said, okay, we're going to be saving this portion. So every year when we file tax, 80%, 70% of that money, we're going to put it in savings. Whatever we like, we do with the remaining 30 or 20%. Now, every 2 weeks when we get paid, we have to put $200 into the savings. So you put, I put, we can have the separate account. Now, the rent was 50, no, it was 60, 40, I can't remember how we did the rent at first. He will bring some and I'll bring some. And that was how we were doing it. So my chain of thought. So the money became my money, our money. And it became a very tense environment that the money we could save when we were getting the $8 an hour, we couldn't save now that the man has $18 an hour.
$18.
We couldn't save that money. And the more I push for that percent to be put into the savings, the more fights we had, So I was frustrated with that. And one of the bad thing I did was when we did open the account, I didn't request for the ATM card or anything. And I didn't sign that somebody, we have to both co-sign before money will be taken out. I didn't do any of that. I just opened the account and you put money and, just left it. I didn't monitor the money. I didn't do anything. Anyway, so now we had so much issues. And with pregnancy, I said, I'm not marrying this man anymore. I don't want to marry this man anymore. I don't want anything to do with this man. Now everybody started preaching patience. Everyone started preaching patience. Oh, ni suru ni marriage ba. Suru ni endurance ni. I'm like, we're just 1 year married. And all this suru, I'm already mad. And Pastor, let's not forget people, the love for marriage, the love that you're supposed to have for marriage, I didn't have it for this person. Now it's something that I wanted to work on. It's something that kind of a thing. So I needed to work on it. Anyways, so it became an issue and he started going for counseling with our pastor. Then our pastor would meet him once in a month. Once in a month we'll meet. No, once in a week they would meet to talk because I was the one complaining and my complaints were legit. So, but towards the end of our first pregnancy, it had gone so bad. It had gone so bad. We got married 2010, and by 2011, Pastor, I was done. I checked out, emotionally checked out. But I was a born again Christian and I had to stop. I couldn't pray anymore. Remember, I could pray before. I couldn't pray anymore. All my energy for prayer was gone. All my zeal for prayer was gone. I was faced with so much struggle, both emotionally and physically, and I had so troubled troubled pregnancy, and I had so many challenges. So I couldn't even pray anymore. I was overwhelmed. This is not what I thought marriage would be. I thought my husband would love me. I'm looking for love. I need someone to love me. I'm not loved right now. I need love. I need someone to love me. Can somebody love me? Can somebody just love me? I need love. I started looking for love in the first year of marriage while I was pregnant for my husband. I was seeking for somebody to love me. I didn't know what to do with my life.
Mm.
I hated this person. I wouldn't use hate, but I started resenting this person. I didn't want him to touch me. He couldn't even touch me. I refused for him to touch me. And then I had the child. I had a baby, and but you want to work on it. I want to work on it. I don't want to be a failure. I don't want to fail in marriage. So I had to forgive. I need to forgive. You have to forgive. And it was preached to me all the time. Forgive, 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 forgive. So you have to forgive. Now I had the boy, and in 2012, I wouldn't let this man touch me. Like from the middle of the pregnancy, I wouldn't allow him to touch me. So this particular afternoon, 2012, the man begged, like practically wept, you know, for us to meet as husband and wife. And I finally agreed. And then 2 months after, I found out I was pregnant. That was it. I was as upset as you can imagine.
Mm.
That shattered me. Like when I had the son, the boy, I told him, I said, this is the child, only child I will ever have for you. I will never give birth to any child for you, ever. If you're going to have any more kids, you have to go and have it outside. It's not going to be me. I will not, because you can't. I can't have kids for you. So I found out I was pregnant, and I was upset halfway through the pregnancy until the day I found out that child was a girl. When they told me, the fetus was a girl, that was it. My heart melted, and all my anger went away. I was happy again. I'm going to finally have a sister, have a daughter. I'm never going to be alone anymore. We are now two, So I became very happy. I was joyful. And Yemisi Oloyun party, that's what they called me. I was in every party. Depression disappeared. I would put in my ojuju makeup, and I jet borolo with big pregnancy. Anyway, I had the baby in 2012, so I had a year between those two kids. You know, but the marriage was awful. It was bad. We were one of those couples that we just smile when you see us outside. You say, "See this love bed." When we enter Kaifi, that was how we were. But we were so rosy. I became oriente because I started eating my depression away, and I became 240 pounds.
Mm.
And I was still told I was beautiful, oriente, urubutu. There was no cute name they didn't give me until they now told me I was Amueba. That was when it hit me. Like, yes. So the marriage became very ugly. The marriage became very ugly. I went, I kept going to school. So even with the pregnancy, 2013, I graduated from LA Southwest College with social and behavioral science. I was working full time and going to school full time and had babies in between, right? My ex husband was going to LA Trade Tech. Up until today, I don't know if he's finished, because when I divorced him, he was not done with LA Trade Tech. Okay. So Yemisi Oloyun party, yes, that's what they called me. So so I graduated and I transferred to Cal State Dominguez for sociology. Now I don't know why I studied social and behavioral science. That was not what I wanted. I wanted psychology, but for some reason, when I graduated from Southwest College, they said my degree was social and behavioral science. And when I transferred to South Cal State Dominguez, they enrolled me in sociology. I'm like, that's not what I want. Like, how did I move from what I wanted to something else? And they told me what I needed to do to go back to psychology. And I said, okay, no, I'll just stay with sociology. I'll just stick with sociology. So I went to school, and that was between 2013 and 2015 was the worst years of my life, because I became a threat to this man. I did not just become his competition. The marriage became a competition. We were so toxic together. It was toxic. And it was bad. And we did, like, I didn't know there were horrible things I could do to a human being. I didn't know. I saw the worst of me. You know, if I dabble into every scenario that happened in a marriage, we'll be here till tomorrow morning. But I saw the worst of me, and I saw the worst of somebody else. Now, I'm not putting this man down. This is a very good man. This is an average good Nigerian man. Okay. He's a good man, but he was not the man for me. This man would easily be somebody else's husband, and she would be in heaven. Okay. But I was in hell married to him. So it's not about you or him. He was a bad person. No, he was a good man, but he was not the man for me. And because he was not the man for me, I could only attract the evil that lurks in every one of us.
But all the pastors you consulted, even the ones that your mother prayed with, they all actually confirmed it that this is the will of God for you.
Yes.
And
Yes.
this is heartbroken for me
Yes.
because there are so many women out there right now. They are believing these pastors. They are going from one prophet to another prophet, and they are misleading them. And they say, "Oh, this is your man. Oh, this is your man." You said something at that point in time that when you were praying by yourself, God was sharing things with you. God was revealing things with you, was talking to you about it. You were receiving negative response from God that this is not the person. But you are misled. You are misled. And I just want to just chip this in because I've been talking about this for so long. So many years I've spoken about this that you need to know your God. Know God by yourself. Instead of you just going to where they're going to trick you, where they're going to just make a fool of you, they're just telling you whatever it is that comes in their mind and stuff like that, and you are taking steps based on what one man is telling you. At the end of it, you're going to enter into the ditch, and then sometimes people may not be able to come out because of all this. I don't know when Nigerians will learn. I don't know when we're going to wake up and understand that these people you go to, they're ordinary human beings like yourself. Many of them don't even know what they're saying to you. They don't even know the God that you serve. They don't understand what's going on. They just open their mouth and just say some things to you, and then you go home believing that. Now, this is another evidence right there. This is another proof that after all of that, I'm talking about so many men saying, "Oh, this is it, this is it, this is it." And now, here is Sister Yemisi. She married the same man, but the man actually is not for her. My sister. So where are you now?
Yeah. So it became very bad, very, very bad, very bad. That but we were in America, so the man couldn't beat me. Like I told you,
Mm,
Ellen Rezo ni Yemisi,
mm,
you know. So we went to Nigeria 2014.
mm,
Actually, remember my son was in Nigeria. So as
mm,
soon as I became a citizen, I went straight to Nigeria because that was my promise. Once I'm able to get my son over, I was gonna go back.
mm,
Now, in 2013, my son was in Nigeria. I gave everything. If they asked for one, I gave two. If they
mm,
asked for three, I gave five.
mm,
You know, but I couldn't go home. I made sure my son,
mm,
to my knowledge, had everything. Okay. At some point, they told me to stop buying clothes and sending clothes. I should just send the money.
mm,
They'll go to the market themselves. Now, 2013 came, and I got a call saying that my son was out of hand, and actually, my grandfather was about to beat him, and he pushed him or he ran away or something. My grandfather fell,
mm,
you know, and they couldn't have him there anymore. Now, how my son got to that stage, I'm not aware of. I wasn't informed about any behavioral issue.
mm,
The first thing, everything there, oh, Tishere Paju, you know, too much play. Too much play. That was all I knew.
mm,
And then 2013, I heard a completely different story. Now I had God help me with the family here, and they said, okay, for now you can take your son to, is it Elisha?
mm,
Yeah. And they had a family member there. So we transported my son to Elisha. Was when we got to Elisha, we found out that they let me know this true state of my son. My son was practically a thug. And I said a thug. My 13-year-old. It's not even 13, like 11, 12. My son was a thug. And he had serious ear infection that I knew about and that I sent money, thousands of naira, to take care of. But apparently,
They
I don't
didn't
know
do it.
what was done. And they had to take my son to Ife for, ear stuff. And the man did say that they cussed me out, like the nurses. There was no evil name. They didn't call me until they explained to them that, yes, I was actually doing what I was supposed to do. But, this is what it is. So they took my son in and he gave them hell. Like I told you, my son was streetwise. So practically was raised on the streets. Practically my son did whatever. So between the age of 5 and the age of 11, I'd lost my innocent child because I left him with family. And it, in the story of my life, that's the only one that still breaks my heart today.
Mm.
You know, um, so 2014. I'm sorry, 1 minute.
Just take your time. Take your time. Take your time.
So 2014, I became a citizen and I went home. And oh my God, I didn't know I was gonna do this. I didn't bring no paper towel. So I didn't, So I became a citizen and I bought the ticket. And my ex-husband, my husband then, we all booked a family trip and I went home and our first argument, he beat the like we literally I didn't let him beat the crap out of me. Because remember, I was once beaten like a trailer crossed me, and I swore that no man would ever beat me and go. I will
Mm.
fight. So I fought that day. Now, when I gave back to my daughter, I thank you, prophetess. Like I need to acknowledge somebody here today, prophetess Deborah Etienne. She has been a rock. God sent her to me when I needed somebody the most, and she's here today. God bless
Mm.
you. I love you so much. So we got into this very minute argument. But before then, when I gave birth to my daughter, I had fought for him to bring his mom because it was too much. I was working full time. I was in school, and I had these two babies. My ex husband was not handsome. No, took care of myself financially, mentally, physically, and took care of the children as well. I repeat, financially, mentally, physically, I took care of myself. Basically, what I had in the marriage was the name. When I talk about taking care of a woman, I did that myself and I was married. Okay. Okay. So I, my mom couldn't come from London. So I had to ask him. We're always sending money anyways to mama. She's always hungry. So she's not working. It's we that send money every month. Let her come and sit down here and take care of her grandchildren. We take care of her. I be pastor. Ṣé mo ṣe nǹkan tó bàjẹ́ ni?
Mm.
Let's bring mama here. He said no. He knows his mother. Blah, 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 blah. No, 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 no. I said let's bring mama. It's okay. I can manage. I can do it. Yeah, we brought mama. We brought mama. So after I gave birth to my daughter,
Mm.
she begged me to have another, just one more. I said no. I went to put a birth control. I said no. I'm not having any kid for this. There's no lessons I didn't hear. There's no advice I didn't hear. There's no story I didn't hear. Any story they can tell you about a submissive wife, I heard it because I was no longer submissive. I was not. I would have sex with him whenever I feel like. And the sex, I'm sorry, I will say it. The sex was more punishment than enjoyment. So it was horrible. Ehen. Before we got married, it was not great. But I said, you know what? Kò ń ṣe oúnjẹ. It's not food. Just do. And and just it's manageable, you know. Just, Pastor, 1 minute, sir. It was manageable, at the time of marriage. Let me manage it. No, there's nothing wrong, it's okay. It's a typical man. And then when the marriage, when in the midst of the marriage, he was stressed. He had so many underlying issues as well. And his sexual life just went zero. And I wouldn't want to be touched. I'm a sexual person. And there are I want to get somewhere. You know, I don't want to be saying, okay, I'm ready and you're done. No. So I refused. And then we had so much issues. We have verbal abuse. We have body shaming. I was big. Remember, I was big. I was oriented. I was 240 pounds. I was already dealing with almost eyebrow pressure. My doctor was going to place me on antidepressant. I had heart palpitation. I was sad. I was mad. I was upset. I didn't love this man. At the end of the day, I didn't love this man because he didn't fulfill what I thought a man would fulfill in the life of a woman. So maybe if he was more selfless, maybe it would have worked out. But he wasn't. He wasn't. He was very selfish, and he loved just himself. Everything pointed to him. And I'm here struggling with kids. I'm struggling. I practically just have the name Mrs. And that wasn't what I wanted, So we went home and, he was begging for me to have a child. And I said, no. And my mom was against the birth control because I wasn't seeing my period. She said, oh, God created that thing for a reason. Go and remove that birth control. Quick. 1 year. 1 year. You didn't see period. Hey. So I went and removed it. Okay. Now, my mom was my coach throughout this marriage, okay? She knew when I cried. She knew when I wept. She laughed with me. She cried with me at some point. She told me horrible stories of other women, that made mine minute, that minimized what I was going through, because those were bigger, Men, I'm sorry, I saw men as some wicked being on earth. Because of what they did to women. And here I am. I'm like, okay, my own. And when I refused for him to touch me, it became a fight. When he reports it to my mom, my mom says, "Ṣé o ti gbọ́ pé obìnrin kankan kú nítorí pé ọkọ ẹ̀ ó bá sùn? Ṣó ti gbọ́ rí? Tó o bá fẹ́ ṣe, wàá gbójú ẹ, wàá gbé sí báyìí. Wàá dijú mọ́rí ni. Á dẹ̀ ṣe kan. Your husband has complete authority over your body. You cannot say because you don't want to be touched. You can't. So, Pastor, I will dijumori and I felt violated. I felt dirty. I felt like a trash. That alone killed me. Because of the person I am, I have to develop some kind of high love feeling for you, for me to allow you into me, for me to allow you to be intimate with me. I have given you some level of commitment. Now I'm in a marriage where I have to dijumori. Just bajude. Just do it. And after I'm done, I'm frustrated. I'm dead on the inside. So I did it over and over because that's what I was expected to do. Now we got to Nigeria and we had this fight. I fought back. He gave me a slap. I gave him right back. I think I gave him 2 back because no man was ever going to lay their hands on me. And we went back to back. And while we were struggling, I felt this pain from my pelvic to my brain and I collapsed. Right there, I knew something was wrong. I said, something is wrong with me, because I just collapsed. They had to carry me, gave me medicine and all that. Now I'm talking, this is my side of the story. And my truth is my truth. Your truth is your truth. This is my truth, and I own it, because this is my truth. So it's not something that let's hear his own side. He has course he has his own
Okay.
side of the
He
story.
will have his own
He
side.
has his own side of the story, of
Of
course.
course. Of course.
But this is my own truth, and I
Mm-hmm.
own it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we had this fight, and when I collapsed, I was like, "Oh my God, something's wrong with me." And throughout the end of throughout that journey, it was miserable, and I had to take care of my son, take him to. I found out the ear was really bad. We'll get to that. And then I took him to the passport office. They made his passport. As soon as we got back, we went straight to the ER. It was at the ER they found out I was pregnant. Okay. I was pregnant and the pregnancy had stalled. Now I was 9 weeks pregnant, and they said when it stalled, I was 7 weeks, but my hormone was reading 9 weeks. So it stalled, and we traced it back to the day of the fight. I told him, I said, there you go. You were begging me to have a baby. I'm pregnant. I didn't even know I was pregnant. We both didn't know I was pregnant. God knows that I didn't want to have any other child with you. So they had to flush out the pregnancy because he had, it gone bad. So when we came back, that was it. You see, he laid his hands on me, and that was it. That was it. When we came back, I told him I was going to give him a divorce. This is 2014. I told him, I said, that's it. I said, you see, a marriage or a love is like a basket filled with beautiful fruits. And if he ever tells his story, I hope he will be able to use this analysis. I said it's a beautiful basket filled with lovely, sweet, juicy fruits. And every day you take from this fruit. Every day you come, you take. Every day you come, you take. And the fruit is empty. What do you take? That's it. I said, I am now an empty basket. There's nothing. I don't have anything to give you. And this is me. I said, but I don't know how this is going to be. But if you don't change in the next year, I'm going to give you a divorce. Okay. I didn't tell my mom this, but she got to find out. And divorce is not an option. I have to fight it through, like I said again, patience and endurance. Okay, I don't love this man. And I say it to the world today. And I didn't love this man. Even when I found out that, when people ask me, why did you marry him? We're complete opposite. Complete opposite. We're two people on different sides of the freeway. We never meet. Nítorí ibi tí mò ń ronú lọ, ó yàtọ̀ síbi tọkùnrin ronú lọ. And now I'm in school. I'm in the university. We started at the same time. I'm doing my bachelor schoolwork and doing your associate schoolwork for you because you refuse to do it. And I want you to go to school, get a certificate. But at some point, I was like, it's not worth it. I'm going to school, doing my own schoolwork, taking care of these kids and figuring out how this marriage is going to work and how this family is going to move forward. Taking care of myself, your mother, your family, and then taking care of you, and then doing your schoolwork. Come on now. How much can a girl take? How much can a girl take? So I said, I'm not doing no schoolwork for you anymore. Do your own schoolwork because at the end of the day, the certificate will bear your name, not my name. And nobody's gonna, and besides, you won't even learn anything. And to my knowledge, that was the end. That man didn't go to class anymore. He didn't, to my knowledge. I don't know if he went back after, but to my knowledge, that was it. Now, 2015 came and it was worse. So I knew I was going to get a divorce at some point, but I didn't know when. I'd made up my mind. Like I told you, I checked out the first year of the marriage. I checked out emotionally. Now, the rest of the 4 years was pushing through, enduring, and see if things are going to be better. Now, see how I'm going to work out things. Now, how I'm going to start loving my husband again. This is the 4 years. So while everybody was praying, telling me to be patient, they didn't know I was in my patience zone because I had checked out. I was done. But nobody knew I was done. Okay. Nobody knew I was done. So when I came back 2014, I put in my son's papers immediately. And I had to go back to Nigeria August 2015. Now, I decided to go alone. Left the woman, the man, his mother, and the kids, and I went home. Now I had a 2 weeks vacation. You see, Pastor, those 2 weeks, I prayed from day one to the end, telling God how sorry I was, and I was gonna leave. And if he didn't want me to leave the marriage, he should give me a sign. Okay. So I did what I needed to do in Nigeria. I came back, but I needed to go back in November. Now the marriage was bad. Everything has gone haywire. Everything has gone pakos. Like sometimes he's sitting down. The house is tense. This is Yemi, bubbly, bubbly at work. I laugh too much. Like people know me, no. I laugh too much, bubbly, bubbly. And the moment I touch the knob of as a matter of fact, the moment I drive into my garage, the sadness will overwhelm me. The only two joy I had were those two kids that would run to me. Because my ex-husband was, how fathers will take children to school every day. That was the norm. When I was growing up, daddies were the one taking kids to school every day. Except when daddy traveled, then mommy would be taking the kids to school. In my own marriage, if my husband take the children to school today, tomorrow you say it's my turn because he did it yesterday. So, that kind of a marriage. Gbogbo wíìkì èmi nìkan mo kàn lọ drop àwọn ọmọ school ní now. Ìwọ náà ò dẹ̀ lọ drop wọn. So it was a competition. It was a competition from him. And sometimes I sit down and I turn back, I look at him, and I could see the anger because I was stubborn. My stubbornness was full blown, and I was no longer that sweet girl. I could switch in a minute from being so sweet with somebody, and the moment he steps in, I switch back to my very angry human being. So it was bad. It was a toxic environment. It wasn't good for the kids. Argument, morning, afternoon, night. His mother singing, "Hure, hure, ìyàwó yìí kọ́ o, ìyàwó ẹ bá mi pé ìyàwó irú ẹ̀, ìyàwó ìwọ leléyìí o." Singing morning till night in the bathroom. I can hear it in my own bathroom because she's busy. She's busy singing all this. This Yoruba song, those songs. So it was a bad environment. It was bad. So when and when all this, negative, and I became horrible. I became horrible. Like I couldn't even stand the horror of myself. I'm like, can I do things like this? Like, is this even me? So I left. So I started planning. I told him I was going to divorce him. I told my dad. My dad checked out of the marriage, I think, in 2014 was when my dad was done. I think it was a Mother's Day. And my dad came over to visit, and I don't know what the argument was with him and his mom. And I wasn't there. So I came out from my room. I met the mom in her room crying. And I was like, "Why are you crying, Mama?" And she said, "Oh, it's my son. He has started again and all that." Meanwhile, all this while, when he does things to me, the mother would say, "That's how his father behaved. Patience. That's how his father, Babe Lujo, things like that. So I went in the living room where he was with my dad, and I'm like, "What did you do to Mama? Why are you doing this? Is it Mother's Day or Father's Day?" And he made the statement and said, "Omi ló pọ̀ lójú wọn tí wọ́n ń sunkún." And my dad was there. My dad went silent. My dad was busy playing with his grandkids, and he went silent. And the next word my dad said is, "Yemisi, come and go and drop me off at this train station. I'm going home." And I said, "Daddy, what happened?" He said, "I'm leaving right now. I'm going home. Come and go and drop me off." And I was like, "Daddy, drop me off now." My dad got up, put on his shoe, and on our way, I asked him, he said, my dad said, "Tí ẹnì kankan ládùúgbò tí wọ́n bá wá màámi, téèyàn la ẹnu tó bú màámi, tí màámi omi ẹkún ẹyọkan ó drop lójú màámi, I will kill that person. How much more me? I will make my mother cry, and I will say omi ló pọ̀ lójú wọn láti sunkún." That was it. My dad said, "Whenever you're ready to leave, let me know." My dad never came back to the house till I left. My dad was done because, he was aware of all the negative and, baby, you just have to, this is you, it's your marriage, as long as you're happy, do whatever makes you happy. That's my father. Do whatever makes you happy. Do whatever makes you happy. So, this, my dad checked out, so I was running by myself with my mom's encouragement, so 2015, I said I was done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm already fantasizing about my ex. I'm fantasizing about, how single life is. I'm no longer, I'm no longer in this marriage.
Mm.
So I filed for divorce.
Mm.
My dad was in the mix. Trust me. And when I told my mom that I was gonna get a divorce in August 2015, right there, she told me if I do so, she was gonna disown me. I should know that I don't have a mother anymore.
Mm.
And I told her, I said, sure. And I said, okay, then I don't have a mother as well. And that was it. Uh, so I filed for divorce in November, and December 31st, I moved out of the house. And everything that happened in between was ugly, anyways. So
Mm.
super ugly. And so 20 2016 came, and I had to go to court. I had to take this man to court. I had to take this man to court because when I left, the man said, okay, since you can take care of the kids by yourself, go ahead. And, Pastor, like I said, before I got married to this man, I was
Mm.
praying. I was praying. I had this connection with God. Now I got married and prayer was out of the window. I couldn't pray. When I kneel down to pray, I cried or fall asleep. I couldn't pray. All I would say then, I remember vividly, is, Lord, have mercy on me.
Mm.
Just have mercy on me. Ọlọ́run ràn mí lọ́wọ́, help me, help me. That was all I could. And then I got a job an hour from the house. I got a
Mm.
job an hour from the house, and I would drive from my house
Mm.
to this job, and that was my prayer time. That became my prayer time. That became my wailing time. I would cry and get to work, clean my face, put on my makeup, work. And my way back, it was 12-hour shifts. On my way back, I would cry, calling the name of God. And here, God started flashing me back. This is
Mm.
early 2015. God started flashing me back. I warned you. I warned you. I warned you. So now I'm asking God for forgiveness because this is obedience. And I did tell my ex-husband, I said, God said I shouldn't marry you. You're not my husband. And if he's gonna be ever gonna be truthful, ever, if he's ever, because I don't see it. But if he's ever gonna be truthful, he would tell you I repeated it over and over. I begged him for forgiveness. I said, I ruined your life. I messed up your life because I married you.
Mm.
God said you're not my husband, but I wouldn't listen. It's my fault that we are here today. So I would cry, going, cry, coming back, cry, going, cry, coming back. And then I told God, I said, if except you don't want me to leave this marriage, but if you want me to leave them, because I will die here, I will die here. My doctor already said I'm depressed and she's going to give me antidepressants. Okay, I'm obese. They're already saying I'm pre-diabetic. Now my blood pressure is going up and is going down. I I've died spiritual death. Now I'm going to die physical death. I will die here. That was what I just kept saying, God, I will die. I will die here. Because Moronu, I'm thinking, I feel useless. I feel everything negative that a woman could feel. I will die here. This is death for me. I could only see me 6 foot below. I couldn't see anything else. But my mom was there encouraging me and even fighting
Mm.
for the man and fighting me because my mates were busy building empires, getting their masters, and getting good careers, and I'm busy here talking about my husband doesn't love me. I'm busy here talking my husband doesn't love me. So that's all of that. So I left the marriage, and the man would say, when I said, can you pay the daycare of the kids, he said no, he wouldn't pay. Okay, 3 months went, and the man wouldn't contribute anything to the kids. So I took him to court. Now, in the Nigerian community, that's a no-no. Okay, that's a no-no. You never take the man to court. So you better gbafolo him, gbafolo ni.
Mm.
So taking that man to court was another thing. Pastor, the stigma I got, I couldn't even go to the store to go and buy things. Okay. I didn't tell people I was getting a divorce now. I only told the pastor of the church I was going. I said, Pastor, who has been following us from the first year of the marriage. Like I said, Pastor, I said, I'm done. I'm gonna leave. Pastor said, "Kusin kotale shisi mo." Mo ní, "Ṣé ó ní ni? I don't have any other complaint. There's no new complaint. It's the same complaint from the first year till now. I'm done." But by the time I got a divorce, half of my Facebook people were calling me because my husband went on my Facebook and called each and everyone to tarnish me. It was bad tarnishing. When I say bad tarnishing, it was horrible. I was an adulteress. No, adultery was the highest one, anyways, because once they tag you with adultery, you aren't escaping it. And when a man tags you with adultery, that's it. My ex-husband tagged me with adultery, and everyone believed it. Even if I ask, what evidence do you have? Or I saw your text message with your ex. How did I commit adultery? Because till today, even my mom, I asked her, I said, in what way did I commit adultery? When I used to talk to her, I said, what way did I commit adultery? Did I sleep with any man? I was looking for love. Remember, I was frustrated. So, and my ex, the man that was older than my mom, was my friend on Facebook and just messaged me one day and said, you look so miserable. I don't know why you married that man, but you look miserable. Behind all of this, your smile, you are miserable. And when I saw that, I realized, yes, I am miserable. Okay. So I had to take this man to court. And the moment I took him to court, my life blew over. My life blew over because I got calls from people who I didn't even know knew I was getting a divorce, telling me to withdraw the case from the court. And settle out of court. How will I settle out of court with a man that refused for 3 months? And I was working. God gave me a job right when I was telling God I need a divorce, but I won't be able to carry myself. God gave me a job. And when I was like, God, I don't think I'm going to graduate with my BSc, God made sure, oh, this God is a good God. My ex-husband tried to sabotage every way so that I don't graduate. Sabotage, but God will create for me an escape. So when I left him, that was my last semester. I graduated that very year, 2016. By May, I was done with school. I graduated with my bachelor's in sociology. Okay, so that was a testimony for me because remember, Pastor, where I was coming from, my mates were already graduates by 2006. Most of my mates were already graduates. The ones that went for their masters, and my mom, that was a disappointment for her. I didn't complete any of the schools I started. My diploma in law, I dropped off because I was pregnant. And when I got into the distant learning, I dropped off because I was coming to the United States. So getting a bachelor's in the United States, in the one country of the world, was a big achievement for me. But I never received a congratulation from my mom because I divorced the man that she deemed the best answer to any prayer I could have ever prayed in life was my ex-husband. That was the best answer. So I took this man to court. My dad gave me his lawyer. My dad was beside me all through. I took this man to court and they made him pay back. They made him pay back all the months that he didn't interfere or take care of his kids. And that's the story. That's how divorce partly affected my life and shaped me in a different kind of way, created inside of me a different kind of pain and a different kind of void. You get it, Pastor?
I got it. Fantastic.
Okay. Yeah.
Go ahead.
So now we move past that. I'm now single, and God, I connected back to God, and I became an encourager. Even while I was going to court, women would inbox me on Facebook and I will have the urge to talk, just to encourage somebody. And I started doing that. I didn't know that that was God. I didn't understand what it was at first because I've never been a pastor. I've never been anything. I've been a religious, spiritual person with the fear of God, but I didn't know, this other extra that you could hear stuff and you could be stuff would be revealed to you. Apart from when I was praying for marriage, that was the only time I could hear things in my spirit and I could feel it. But outside that, I didn't have any of that. So I would go on Facebook and I would encourage people. While I was going through that challenges of going back to court, back to back, my ex-husband said I was negligent. The court had to assign an investigator that came to my house unannounced and all that. But I won the case and the children were awarded to me 75%. And, I had the kids and all that. Now I started encouraging people on Facebook. People would message me and I started finding out that women were going through a lot. I'm like, oh my God, oh Jesus. Some were worse than the other. Mine was worse. Somebody else's was worse. It was bad, Some people's was worse than mine. And I found out, oh my God, so I started doing that. I started encouraging people and encouraging people. Now I'm sad. I'm not happy with my life, actually, because of all these things that has happened to me. I'm pretty depressed. But Pastor, one thing I say was when I was big, like 200 and 1 million pounds, everybody told me it was the good life. Ọkọ ẹ̀ ń tọ́jú ẹ̀ ní wọ́n ń tọ́jú ẹ̀ wọ́n ti fowó darí ẹ̀rù ọmọ tó sàn.
Depression, yeah.
And I was so in shock until my ex-husband one time, he would ask for sex and I would say no. I couldn't even remember the last time I kissed him before I divorced him. Like maybe 2-3 years before I divorced him. I couldn't remember. So I would say no. And one day I was dressing up and he came into the room and was like, Ibo lo ń lọ, ta ló fẹ́ fẹ́, kò jókòó ẹ̀, kò sí nǹkan kan ta tó dàbí àmúẹ̀bà orí ọyàn ń kan ikùn ń kan ẹsẹ̀. And after he finished his question, the only thing nǹkan tá à ń manage ojú ẹ̀ face ẹ̀ nìkan ló fine ṣe orí gbogbo ara ẹ̀ má kàn bẹ̀rù má ju ẹnu kò sẹ́ni tí ó fẹ́. That day, I hadn't had that before. And that day I turned and I looked at the mirror and I hated myself. Like I saw, yes, amoeba. I was amoeba. Breast was touching stomach was touching leg. I was shapeless. I didn't even look like mommy. Mommy died at the age of 108.
You're talking about your grandmother.
My grandmother from my father's side. Yep. She died at the age of 108. Okay. And I felt I was looking like mommy. And I was only 36? Oh, 30. No, I think I was 34.
You're talking about depression right there.
Yeah. And I hated myself. I couldn't look at myself in the mirror. Now, the night I left, everybody said I had peace of mind. That's why I was so big and all that. Pastor Sherry Jo, the day I left that home and I slept on my bed in the new apartment, I slept like a baby.
Of course.
And in 4 months, I lost 50 pounds.
Wow. Without trying.
I was just fasting, pray, fast, pray, fast, pray. I connected so much with God. Pastor, I lost 50 pounds. Wow. Okay. Peace. And when people ask me, I say it's peace. When I open my door, I smile. I'm like, hey, I'm home. When I go out, I'm happy. When I'm with my kids, I'm happy. Even though, there are aspects of my life that were raging storm. But there was this inner peace that I finally had. I wasn't wrestling with myself. I wasn't fighting with myself. I wasn't feeling horrible about me. Even though I didn't want to look at myself in the mirror, except from my neck up and from my knee down.
So, where is your mother now? Where is she in your life right now?
Actually, nowhere. Yeah, nowhere. So, because
she abandoned you right from that moment to divorce that guy.
Yeah, she's still in contact with my ex-husband. She still calls him, and when he goes to London, they see each other. So according to her, I'd done the man great injustice, and you know, I wasn't um, I wasn't a child. She I wasn't the child. When our statement is, "You were mubi," you are not the child that I had, and because my child will never behave like this, and then reminded me of the pregnancy and how I left where she kept me and all that. So all of that, and then she hates my dad.
What kind of lesson do you want people that are listening right now to learn
Mm,
from your story? You see,
brother.
so many people are listening. We have almost about 844 people watching right now, both on YouTube and on Facebook. And
Wow.
and there are almost about 67% women on there. Right
Hmm.
this moment that I'm actually talking to you right now. What do you want them to learn from your story? Looking at your mom, her reaction towards you, she abandoned you because you failed. She abandoned you because you walked out of a marriage that could have killed you. Abandoned you. Your dad also didn't even know anything about you until you were already a mother. And you struggle to find peace and happiness in your life. Right now, you're a mother, and I know you're treating your own children in a better way right now. You must have learned a lesson from what you've been through. So, what do you think women should learn from your story today?
Hmm. My fellow women, no matter what a child does,
Mm,
no matter what a child does, never, never abandon your child. Never betray the trust of your child.
mm,
Okay. When I left my child behind, which one of the things I tell my people that follow me is never leave your child behind. Okay. Okay. Never. I rather suffer. If I could reverse the time, I would rewind myself to 2008, where I don't have to leave my child here. But never, never, one, leave your child, and two, never take the opinion of anybody. I have underlying issues with my mom, of course. My birth disrupt her life.
mm,
My coming to existence moved her ship, the ship of her life, to shifted it to a different direction,
mm, mm,
and that affected everything from the foundation. Okay, so what I've learned is never to distance myself from my children.
mm,
Never distance yourself from your children. And no matter what your child does, forgive. Now, I heard stories. My mom gave me her stories. My dad gave me his stories. And the stories are not the same. Now, my dad had evidence, but my mom didn't. So the story my mom gave me is completely different. It's an angelic kind of story. But the story my dad gave me is a complete opposite. Now, be truthful to your kids. Be truthful to your kids, no matter who you are.
mm.
Before you got married, even after you got married, just be truthful, because your child will find out one day.
One day.
Your child will find out one day. And when your child find out, your child might resent you.
Mm,
And don't forget that one thing that we parents forget is that we were bad at the age of that child. We were somehow.
yeah,
We
of
were a
course.
particular behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Most times we've even acted even more aggressively than that child
And the
at
child,
that
yeah.
age.
Mm-hmm.
But now that we now have kids, we expect our kids not to exhibit any of those behaviors.
That's a big mistake.
And because I've noted it in almost all the Nigerian parents,
Mm.
you have issues, you have great issues. You start taking your child for deliverance. Did they take you for deliverance?
I don't know. I don't understand.
Did they take you for deliverance?
Yeah.
And the child is trying to identify themselves and find their inner being. They're struggling inside of themselves to know who they are, to
Mm-hmm.
find out who they are.
Mm-hmm.
And then we tag that child, especially a female child.
Mm.
A female child. And if you ever have a child like me who is so hypersensitive, okay, I'm hypersensitive. Okay, so that made me very sexual, very emotional, very attachy. So all of that, when you have a child like that, you have to nurture. You have to nurture your child, not to shut your child out, because a lot is going to happen behind the scene, and it's going to be your fault. It's going to be your fault, whether we accept it or not. There are things today that I still say, if my mother was there, if my mother listened to me, maybe it wouldn't have been like this. Even after divorce, I still sit down and say, if only I could tell my mom. There are secrets I will never, because their secrets are shared with my mother that ended up in the ears of my ex-husband and that was used against me. So never betray your child, never shut out your child. And when your child is behaving a certain way, sit down, analyze yourself. If you still have parents, call your parents and ask them, in Batimo Wani 12-year-old, how did I behave? Because sometimes these things are emotion. We pass it on. We pass it on to the kids. They inherit some of our behaviors because this is your DNA. And I have DNA of my father and DNA of my mother inside one person. You can imagine the kind of person they created, those two people.
No.
Okay, from my mother's side, I see the strength. I received so much strength and so much stubbornness. From my father's side, I received a lot of sentiment, a lot of, emotions from my dad. My dad is extremely emotional, okay, and extremely sensitive. My mom right here is hard-hearted and very strong. So now you see these two people in one, and that's how most of our parents are. So when your child is behaving a certain kind of way, that is what I've learned. And, my son is still a struggle for me to today. I brought him to the United States and I had to deport him as fast as I could. I had to send him back to Nigeria, look for his father, and handed him to his father right away. But the two that I have here, I'm making so much effort that I'm constantly telling myself, I will not be like my mother. I will not treat you the way my mother would treat me. I will not treat you, so inside of my head, I keep comparing and I'm making sure that I'm not repeating the same thing that I can remember my mother doing to me, treating me the same way that, treating my kids the same way I can remember my mom treating me. I'm forgiving. I have to forgive my kids. It's very important for me to forgive. It's very important for you to forgive your child, because that child that is giving you heartache today can be a glorious child tomorrow.
Yes, of course.
A child can disappoint you today by getting pregnant like I did. Now I am a master's degree graduate. Okay, in the United States, I can go anywhere in the world. I have my classmates on my inbox asking me to send them money for food. Those were my mates. Those were the people my mother compared me with. Do not compare your child to any mate. They are nobody's mate. Because when God was creating me and was creating them, he didn't make us mates. He created me separately. They gave birth to me from a different hole and canal. So I cannot compare you to you. Never compare your kids. Because today I can decide to go to China. I can decide to go to Afghanistan. I can decide to go to London, Britain, anywhere in the world. And my certificate is accepted. But my mates, they don't have the same opportunity. So our life is already strategically planned by God, because everything that happened to me from my childhood up until now, it's not behind God. It's a script I was just playing out. Yes, I had opportunity to make a different choice at some point or the other. I didn't. But still, it is to the glory of God. Because today, if your child don't go through some challenges, they will not be able to testify. They will not know what life truly is.
They won't develop.
They won't develop sense of responsibility, of wholeness. So me and my mom constantly shutting me out and giving me the silent payment as a punishment for my disobedience and for my wrong choices and for my mistakes, pushed her out until I couldn't allow her in anymore. but I will always recognize her as my mom. I
As your
came
mom.
through her.
Mm, mm.
She will always be. You can never have another parent. You can't.
You can't change. You can't
I
change
was
that
I was
person.
angry with God at some point because
Mm,
even though yes, my dad tried to try to correct all of his absence. He did everything he could.
mm,
And I do forgive him. But at some point, I was like, why do I have these parents again? Like I asked God, why do I have this mother? Why? Because I see worse. I see prostitutes. I
mm,
see prostitutes. I see their mother defending them.
mm,
I see somebody who killed someone and their mom is in jail visiting them.
mm,
What is my offense?
mm,
What is it that I've done that is so unforgivable?
mm.
That is so unforgivable that at the age of 37, I had to go through marriage, divorce, depression, sadness, suicidal attempt. I wanted to die. The only reason why I didn't take my own life was my son, Samuel, my first son, because his father was not in his life. And I said, if I die, who will take care of my son?
I know.
If I kill, because I felt worthless. If your mother can term you worthless, then you're worthless.
Mm,
You're useless. So, and that was what I felt. And I was like, I should just die. When I die, everything is going to be okay. These two kids, they have their father to take care of them.
mm,
But the thoughts of my first son kept me. And that is God, because maybe I would have done it. Maybe I would have drank sniper because that was what I had in my house. When I go to Nigeria, I buy sniper. So that cockroach, just in case. I hate roaches. And some
mm,
of these apartments, they're so old, you're not dirty, but you just see one tiny little roach just come. So I buy sniper because the whatever doesn't work here. So that was my weapon. I was just gonna drink sniper and just destroy my intestine and die. And then my mother would be happy. My father would be sad. Yes, but who's going to take care of Samuel?
mhm,
My son is the night. Who's going to take care of that boy? So
mm.
parents, watch. The Bible said, honor your father and your mother so that thy days will be long. But the same Bible said, do not provoke your kids to anger.
Of course.
There's a lot of things that we do that provoke our children, and there's a locked up resentment against us that manifests at adult age.
Mm,
You don't know why your son don't want you to visit his house. You don't know why your daughter doesn't want you around. There's
uh,
underlying issues to that.
Sister Yemisi, when we talk about forgiveness, because I can see that you are deeply touched, and sharing your story is kind of like really touching also. And even me myself, I'm only sitting down here. I don't even feel like a lion at this time. I feel just like a regular guy, and I really don't want to cry because I know it's your past. You're looking ahead right now, beautiful future. But when we talk about forgiveness, have you been able to look into it like, okay, everyone that you passed through in your life, I'm talking about your ex ex-husband, whosoever, your mother, everybody, your grandmother, your mother's family, have you been able to forgive them? Just to take them off of your heart and say, well, let them just go. Probably that's what God wants me to pass through. Have you been able to do that?
Yes, yes. But I have forgiven, but I have decided to deal from a distance.
Mm-hmm.
That's is the safest thing. You forgive and then you come close and then boom.
Mm,
Nobody's perfect. And but when people expect you to be perfect,
mm,
I forgave my mom. Oh my God. It was bad. It was bad. I couldn't talk about it before. By now I would be bawling. I'll be in serious tears because
of course.
of how much hurt it is to me, but I forgave. But I now realize, how do I forgive and still protect my inner peace?
Mm-hmm.
How do I forgive and still be okay and not give too much information?
Yeah.
How do I forgive? Because I'm like an open book. The moment I trust you enough, I tell you what my immediate challenge is. That's the way I am. So I had to learn to just love from a distance.
Yeah.
Now, if you approach me, if you approach me, I will be civil with you.
Mm-hmm.
Forgiven. To be sincere, my ex-husband, when I left him 3 months after his girlfriend got pregnant now. That's a different, I was the one accused of adultery. But in the marriage, at some point, you remember, I stopped giving the man. I stopped giving it away. I stopped uh, giving my, doing my duties as a wife. So the man, of course, but the society was okay for the society is a man. And when I left 3 months after, found out, the American lady was pregnant, and I was like, oh, hold on now, I'm the one who the world is calling an adulteress. How is it that I left and it's not even 6 months and this man, somebody's already pregnant?
Already
That
got somebody pregnant.
Yeah, that means the person was in the picture all the while, but it was
All the while.
denied. And then my mom even told me, that's his life. After all, you stopped sleeping with him before you left the marriage. So, and everybody was okay with it. Like, that shocked me. Because everyone was okay with it. I even had a man tell me, oh, ebi wa lo fun, o de lo gbanta. Things like that. The society was okay with it. I had to forgive him though. Because I was happy, because the more miserable he was, the more miserable he made my life. So I had to pray to God that just settle him, give him a woman to occupy his mind, to keep him busy. And when I found out that somebody was pregnant for him,
Yeah.
during I missed something. I needed to bring that point. During the marriage, when the whole thing was bad, one afternoon the guy was sleeping and he wakes up and goes, Yemisi, wanu yara. And I went in the room and said, Yemisi, jeka shekini, wo molala po bibeji, mo ni emi ibeji ko ibeni. I took off. I took off. And guess what?
Yeah.
Guess what, Pastor? The woman gave birth to twins.
Wow. Allah said, yeah.
The woman gave birth to twins. So that alone was for me like, oh, praise the Lord. But I had to forgive him because I was the one who was tagged with adultery.
Yeah.
And sometime last year, the woman and we did cross paths and we talked, and she gave me the timeline of their relationship. And the timeline of their relationship, we were very much married. I wasn't out of the house. I was living in the house. So I had to bring myself to forgive that you tagged me what I was not. You tagged me with an offense that you were carrying out.
And that's why you're able to survive, because you are able to forgive. Now, there was a point you made, and I want people to learn from it. There are some people when you forgive them, you don't want them around you. The moment you forgive them, you want them to be far away from you, because you need to guide yourself, guide your heart. Because one thing is that they will repeat that same thing and they will hurt you deeper than before. And this time around, it's possible for you not to be able to return back from wherever they send you to. And that's wise. That's very wise, of you to do that. Release them, let them go, let your heart be free like you've done. And that's why you've been able to move forward. And as a minister of God, you've been teaching and preaching the good news, all over the world. By the grace of God, the grace that is upon your life will not diminish in the mighty name of Jesus. And it's just because of my time. I could have been to discuss the issue that you are being confronted with as a single mother, in church and all kinds of stuff. I could have want us to get there, but let's just leave it alone for now. Maybe next time we might have the opportunity to actually go straight into that, to be able to teach people a lesson. What do you want to tell your people that are actually watching right now, the ones that have been sending hugs and love and all kinds of stuff to you, before we close?
Oh, thank you everybody for paying attention.
My wife had to bring me watermelon. I've not eaten all day.
Ah,
She's
that's
watching
so
this. She's like, "This guy, you're gonna kill yourself. Just
sorry.
eat." Go ahead and
Oh,
talk.
I told you, Pastor. I told you. I said this story is very long.
Continue. Talk to your people.
God bless you, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. The purpose of coming to tell this story, like when I connected to Pastor Shola, was it's something that brought it up. It was the vulnerability that comes after divorce. I'm a single mother of three, so when I became divorced, I was extremely vulnerable, and there were wolves. Okay, there are wolves. We have to be careful. You have to be careful. And unfortunately, the wolves are in the church.
In the church.
The wolves are in the church. And the narcissists, they are in the church. And I came across with one which I shared with Pastor, and that one almost destroyed my life and almost ruined my life a second time. And it wasn't a pleasant experience. Now we can become vulnerable, even if you were never divorced, even as a single woman is at the age of marriage. At a marriageable age, you can become extremely vulnerable, and you can give in to anything that looks real. There's a lot of men that are not real today. There's a lot of fake people, a lot of users, a lot of wolves in sheep clothing. Now, number one, go with your gut. Always, always, always believe your intuition. The moment something drops in your heart, please do not discard it. Do not discard it. And because you failed multiple times, it does not mean you're a failure. You are not a failure. If I can survive everything that I went through, and now I didn't go as deep as I thought I would have gone because we would have spent the whole year here. You know, no matter how many times you have failed, please do not call yourself a failure. At some point, I had to remind myself, my name is Oluwayemisi. Orukomidegbomi. Oluwayemisi. Oluwayemisi. I had to remind myself that my name is Oluwayemisi. Remind yourself, call yourself the name that God has called you, not the name that life situation has called you, not the name that the society has called you, not the name that your husband, your wife, your parents has called you. Those are not the names you should call yourself. Look at yourself in the mirror and pronounce positivity into your life. Seek for help. Just in case you're going through any form of depression. A lot of Nigerian women are walking on the street traumatized. We have a lot of traumatized women out there. Trauma, full-blown trauma. If not that I got into the career that I got into, I didn't know I was traumatized. I didn't know I had trauma. I didn't even know I was depressed until I became a social worker, and then I had to seek for help. So do everything. It's not everything that I'm an evangelist. I was ordained, oil poured on me in 2018 as an evangelist, but I didn't know that I was depressed because there are so many things that we spiritualize. We spiritualize so many things that has nothing to do with the spiritual, that has absolutely nothing to do with the spiritual. But because of the kind of community and background that we come from, we spiritualize everything. You need to talk to somebody, speak to somebody. Go to a professional. Like when I was overweight and I lost all that weight and I had all the saggy skin, I had to go to cosmetologist, the cosmetic surgeon, and they fixed me. I'm brand new. I'm happy. I look at myself in the mirror and I don't feel bad anymore. Does it mean that I will not go to heaven because I took out the excess skin that was dangling over me? No, there was no fasting and praying that would have taken away all the saggy skin. There was no fasting and prayer in the world that would have helped me with depression if I didn't speak about it. There was no way I would have felt beautiful if I had this ugliness dancing inside of me. Women, please, watch out. There's a lot of wolves out there. And I was with one for about over a year. I was with a wolf, because a wolf that came in God's clothing. You will be vulnerable, single, not single, single mother. You have one kid, you've been divorced, you have 3 kids like me. You will be vulnerable. And it's okay to be vulnerable, but watch out. If any man cannot be with you in public, cannot stay beside you in public, that man is not for you. That man is a narcissist, is a wolf. He's there to destroy you financially, emotionally, and everythingally. So be careful, be watchful. Don't let your background, don't let it take over your sense of judgment. And put God first. Put God first.
Amen. Amen. Glory to God. Glory to God. Yeah, I want to say thank you for coming because so many people will not come out this way to share their stories with us, but you've done it, and glory be to God. And I could see now your relief even more. Uh, this is the very first time that you're sharing the story of your life. So many people now know you. They know your name. Now they feel your pain. And they're gonna see you on the street and say, "Oh, that's Sister Yemisi going over there. I want to be like you. I want to be free like you. I want to be able to share the good news." Like I was sharing yesterday, I actually made a confession yesterday on the show when I was interviewing uh, Pastor Victor and Pastor Sam. That when Pastor Fisto was in Ring Road, the Global Harvest, I will drive my car to his church to go and pick up the girls. I wasn't born again. And I would drive down there, I would sit down, wait for the choir to finish, I would just pick my own girl and just go. But today, myself and the same pastor who are on the same platform sharing about Jesus. Everybody's not going to get born again at the same time. Every one of us will get born again when God is ready for us. But the issue is just that our past must not disturb our future. The past is supposed to be a stepping stone to your present time, and your present is supposed to be able to push you to your future. People will see you, they want to be like you. Get ready to become a mentor to a lot of people, a lot of women online. They would love to connect with you just to have you as a mentor so that you can encourage them the more with your story. And I want to thank you for coming. May the God Almighty be with you. I want to pray
Amen.
that your
Thank
son,
you.
your first son Samuel, wherever he is right now, that the hand of the Lord will touch him wherever.
And
And the
amen.
Spirit of the Lord God Almighty will enter into his life. In the
Amen.
mighty name of Jesus. That miracle
Amen.
that you've been praying
Amen.
for him, that miracle will come to
Amen.
pass in the mighty name of Jesus. Before the end
Amen.
of this year, we will celebrate the goodness of God
Amen.
over that life in
Amen.
Jesus. Now pray
Amen.
for the two children that you have with you, that the hand of the Lord will rest upon them too. They will
Amen.
be led by the power of the Holy Spirit in the mighty
Amen.
name of Jesus. And I
Amen.
pray for that wonderful man, wherever he is, that will come into your life and spin your life around. That man that will
Amen.
come and be your
Amen.
Prince Charming. That man will
Amen.
locate you in Jesus' name.
Amen.
And I pray for your mother and your father, wherever they may
Mm.
be. The hand of the Lord will not depart from them.
Amen.
The Lord God Almighty will increase them
Amen.
and
Amen.
enlarge their territories in the name of
Amen.
Jesus.
Amen.
Thank you, eternal rock of ages.
Thank you, Lord.
In Jesus' mighty name, I pray.
Amen.
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 Hallelujah. Thank you very much for coming, my sister. I
Thank you,
love you very
Pastor.
much.
Thank
And
you.
then
Love you
we are
too.
going to talk later. God bless you. All
Okay.
right. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining this episode. It's been a very, 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 very long journey. I'm talking about almost about 3 hours. Almost 3 hours. All right. And you guys are still here in Nigeria. You guys from Nigeria. You guys in London. You guys here in America. This is almost 9 o'clock and you guys are still here. All right. Thank you very much. May the God Almighty continue to be with you guys in Jesus' name. Also, if there's any one of you that would love to share their own story too, you want to share your story, true story, and what you've been through and what God has done in your life, feel free to connect with me. I will definitely bring you on the show to actually be uh, a blessing to the people that are going to be listening by the grace of God. Stay blessed and always remember to keep it gospel. I love you very much. See you guys later.